Cooks this weekend. So that's an interesting one. What'd you boys think of that? Brandin Cooks last year, just this time last year, signed a 2-year extension and wrote that it was a blessing. Within probably 4 months of signing that contract, he was like, I want out. And now finally, they've moved him less than a year after signing the extension to the Cowboys for a 5th and 6th round NFL picks. How you boys feeling?
I think the Cowboys got exactly what they needed for exactly the cost that they needed. Yep. They needed a speedy receiver to pair on the outside. They needed that another weapon in that offense after the departure of Amari Cooper. And this makes sense. They're paying him a lot less than they would be paying Amari Cooper this year. I think some people are looking at this trade like, oh, wait, so it ended up being like Amari and a 6th for Brandin Cooks. That's not really how it works, because Amari would have been $20 million cap hit this year. Brandin Cooks is a $12 million cap hit. It's wheels up for the Dallas Cowboys offense with this addition.
Yeah, feeling good about Dak. His ADP right now, I was looking at Underdog, going around QB 9 or 10 or so. You think that changes at all, or do you think that's probably where we end up seeing him?
QB 9 or 10?
I'd say he's going around, like, I've done a couple Underdogs, and it's like the way it feels right now is you go through and like the top dogs go. So it's like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, that whole crew. And then there's 3 guys that kind of go all around each other, which is Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, Tua. And that's just my experience with a couple drafts I've done where those 3 kind of go in any order, but once one goes, the others all go.
I think Dak probably stays around that ADP. His value seems relatively sticky. Like, he doesn't seem like the kind of quarterback that people view with the top end upside. So the names like Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, I feel like are always going to go ahead of him, because even though Dak may be safer to be a top 8 quarterback, Justin Fields is more likely to finish number 1 at the end of next season. So you'll get the upper echelon of the Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allen, the Joe Burrow, the Jalen Hurts, the Justin Herbert's ahead of him for sure. And then you'll get the guys that could finish number 1 overall, the Trevor Lawrence, the Justin Fields kind of guys ahead of him as well.
Simon, it's funny that you feel that way, because that's exactly how it works. Justin Fields goes pick 33, Joe Burrow 36 on average, Lamar Jackson 45, Justin Herbert 52, and then there's one more name in there going in that group ahead. Trevor Lawrence going at pick 57 on average. Then there's a big gap. So those guys are all going 45, 52, 57. Big gap. And then it goes to Deshaun Watson 81, Dak Prescott 87 on average, and then Tua 96. So seems like you're pretty much spot on with that those guys all go, and then everyone takes a little breather and then says, oh, wait, I need a quarterback. And then those are the last guys to kind of round out the top 10, top 12 or so.
They go, phew, okay, Dak is fine.
Dak, okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good about Dak.
I don't think that's a pretty good few sound.
Yeah, that's what people like. It's a genuine few. Like, this is great. We got Dak.
Yeah, you sold me. I heard that and I was like, man, that is someone who is exacerbated. No doubt.
He seems relieved. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But now that's what they do. They got Michael Gallup split end, CeeDee Lamb flank. Well, I mean, it's like they can mix and match all those guys, really, now that I think of it. So they don't have to
flank.
Lamb flank, yeah, a little cook slot, a little cooked lamb, Gallup,
cooked lamb,
delicious.
Gallup, cooked lamb.
That's so stupid. What a stupid Monday morning joke.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It sounds like something Paul Revere would shout, right?
Yeah,
cook lamb.
The esteemed comedian Paul Revere.
I was watching. You ever watch the show Somebody Feed Phil on Netflix?
Oh, no.
It's like a travel cooking show or a travel eating show.
It's it's like a blonde guy.
Gray hair. He's the writer from Everybody Loves Raymond, and he is the goofiest man on planet Earth. Like, just so goofy. And at the end of every episode, he used to have his parents FaceTime in, and he would show them what he had eaten. But this season, they're doing like a tribute to his parents. So they're having like some of their favorite comedians. And yesterday, it buzzes in, and it's this guy named Paul that he talks to. And I'm just like, where do I recognize Paul from? Like, who is this guy on the camera? And then all of a sudden he says Pee Wee, and it clicks to me that Pee Wee Herman is suddenly being FaceTimed into this episode, but out of character as the actor that plays Pee Wee Herman. And it lasted far too long, like 6 minutes too long was Pee Wee Herman on this episode of Somebody Feed Phil. Like it was like he was playing a character that was trying to make everyone watching uncomfortable.
That's so weird.
It was just like, it was 8:30 p.m. Surprise, Pee Wee Herman, and then I had to go to bed, like just out of nowhere.
There it is.
Paul
I feel
Rubens.
like we need more
Paul
information.
Rubens. The chat seems to know who Paul Rubens is.
I forgot I just had never seen him outside of that context. It was only the Pee Wee Herman context that I knew him in. And there he is on Phil. Well, guys, it's time for some BYOB. JL is monjoring himself some breakfast right now. I hope you guys at home are getting ready to do the same thing. We got the news. We got the stories. We gave you a little appetizer one today. You just got to bring your own breakfast. Joe, what are you munching on? I asked you with your mouth full.
Bagel.
Coop, you got any breakfast this morning?
I already ate a bagel. It's a big bagel day for the squad. You got to get
Bagel
yourself a bagel later, Simon.
We got some jalapeno cheddar bagels that I might munch on after the show.
I like how you say that. Jalapeno cheddar bagels.
Because I choked on the word cheddar on the way.
Cheddar.
I had the most delicious thing I've ever eaten in my whole life this weekend. It was
No way. What was it?
It was the word cheddar reminded me because it was in the title. It was a mochi cheddar hush puppy with Thai chili jam. So it was like
vegetarian.
It was so unbelievably good. It was so vegetarian too. And it had like the mochi almost like marshmallowy texture to it. So it was very chewy, but then that jam was sweet and spicy and
best food ever.
Top 3 things I've ever put in my mouth.
Whoa.
Wow.
I'm gonna be
ever put in your mouth?
Yeah. Beyond just food.
Higher than Diet Coke?
Watch this.
Wow.
Better than an iPhone.
Better than an iPhone.
When's the last time you washed your phone?
Not recently.
Later. right after the show. Right after the show.
In about 50 minutes after we solve the daily weddle.
Yeah. Soon. That's when. Yeah. So
speaking of putting things in your mouth, do you guys see the Panthers are finalizing a deal with old Vikings wide receiver Adam Thielen? 3-year deal, according to Rap Sheet.
Yes, the person who actually broke this news is kind of the same person who broke the Aaron Rodgers news. So it seems like he's got his friends, and they decided that they're going to go to him. The first person to announce the deal was actually none other than Pat McAfee on Twitter. And he said, breaking news, according to my sources, Adam Thielen is signing with the Carolina Panthers. The 3-time Pro Bowl has agreed to a 3-year deal. The 32-year-old feels great, ... according to my sources, which of course is Adam Thielen himself. Obviously, he goes on the show as well all the time. So he just recently was on, said he's got a lot left in the tank. So it's kind of funny. People were like, well, him and Aaron Rodgers are buddies or whatever. Seems like he's got more buddies than everyone assumed.
That's what I'm saying, man. You Rappaport's getting mad about this
for sure, dude.
Like he is like subtly retweeting it. What he retweeted yesterday, and he said something like per sources or something like that.
Yes, exactly.
Like first scoop.
Yeah. So I'm telling you right now. I mean, I just wrote an article, only 600 words. It's up on Fantasy Alarm. Wrote it on Friday, and basically, it's talking about this exact thing: the whole idea of the new media, where it used to be back when I was growing up, there were 2 or 3 beat writers. They talked directly to the team, and then they put that in the newspaper. That was how all the news came out. And then for some reason, we kind of clung to that for a long time, where the news seemingly always had to come from an Adam Schefter, or it always had to come from an Ian Rappaport. Now, these players can kind of take control of the narrative themselves. Aaron Rodgers can go on the Pat McAfee show and talk to 500,000 people live and say his side. Calvin Ridley can go on the Players Tribune and write up a full article explaining exactly how he feels about everything and give his full side. Like, that was never a thing before. And I'm seeing that, some of the networks are coming out and saying they don't like it because it gives them too much control or allows the players to put a spin on things. But don't you think the team and the league have been putting spin on stuff for years and years? I love this.
My response to them is suck it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Nerds.
Get out of here.
Right. It's like, and if there's like, obviously there's money changing hands somewhere along the line, which is why Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport get all this news. Here's my question for these players. Why don't you go to your agent and say, hey, if there's money going on here, like who's getting all the money? Like, why can't I control my story? Why can't I give my story to Pat McAfee or Jason and Travis Kelce on their podcast? Or maybe I go on the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show and announce, that
stick it to them.
I'm DJ
First with the scoop.
I'm DJ Chark and I'm signing with the Patriots, right? So like, why can't
Yeah, DJ Chark, if you really want to stick it to the man, you got to come on the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show and announce live here in your own words that you're signing with the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
Do it.
And tweet it out the day before that you're going to do it with a link. Yeah. So I mean, that's the way I would stick it to the man if I were somebody like Chark or Kareem Hunt or virtually anybody out there. So that's just my message. I want to get out there, really unbiased message.
Also, we got Craig in the chat saying there's a good article written by someone on Fantasy Alarm about this exact thing. I guess my phone is on a delay or Coop is reading my mind.
Fine reading.
And then Tommy said, breaking news. I was just traded to Pat McAfee show for a bag of rocks and a liquid death.
No.
Okay, we got 2 liquid deaths in the deal.
We need Tommy here.
Okay. Yeah, they get Poems and we get 2 liquid deaths. Tomorrow we're just going to have a bag of rocks.
Here's the problem, dude.
All we need.
So if we get a bag of rocks and 2 liquid deaths, who gets the liquid deaths and who gets the bag of rocks out of 3 of us?
Rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, liquid death, liquid death. Shoot.
Liquid death.
We're stuck in this conundrum yet again.
Well, I guess we should talk about the football aspect of this particular trade. What do you boys think about Adam Thielen on the Panthers? First and foremost, the most important, we have to obviously look at it from the aspect that we always to me it's the most important part. How do you think Adam Thielen will look in a Panthers uniform?
I think he'll look good in a Panthers uniform. Something like he's got
je ne sais quoi.
That's the word I'm looking for, JL. And it would not work for me. Could you see it in the way I was standing?
I could feel it. I could feel it. I don't know why. That word came to me.
No, he's going to look good in the blue. Some players, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking like, this is going to look tragically wrong. And Adam Thielen, like I've seen the mock-ups. It fits. I'm already used to him being a Panther.
Seen the mock-ups.
Viking who?
It is so funny though, because it's like I'm always like, who is doing this? First look at Adam Thielen. I'm like, what is the matter with you? But then I'd still also go and look at him, like scroll through. I'm like, okay, yeah, I see it. But it's like, who has the
got
time?
A whole folder of just things that never came to be.
Just him in 31 uniforms.
Yeah.
You know that there are accounts with those out there ready to go. They've got 100%. All the players of free agency with like 30 different mock-ups. Let's do it.
First look. Here's the first look.
You think he's going to stay Adam touchdown Thielen? Is he going to be the same type of player, the same prototype of player in this offense?
We talked about it a little bit last week. I think this is a great addition for this Panthers offense. Adam Thielen feels like the perfect type of wide receiver to be that bridge wide receiver. If the Panthers just sold the farm to get top QB. Maybe they trade back. There's a chance that they do. I think it's probably 50-50 at this point, based on the information that we know. And so Adam Thielen going there, I think, is a great move. I think he can be Adam touchdown Thielen. Of course, it's going to depend on this quarterback who ends up being in that position. And the team is not going to be as well built as the Vikings, but he's still a fantastic wide receiver.
Yeah, there is an art to being good in the red zone that, you can't completely transcend the quarterback, but some guys have it and some guys don't. And that's called pushing off and getting away with it. No, but like
Hopkins special.
Yeah, exactly. Like Julio Jones never figured it out. That you just got to give him a little shove, right? But no, but in all seriousness, like there are certain guys that just have that body control and that awareness, and there's certain guys that don't. Like I mentioned DJ Chark, the one knock on DJ Chark, or the biggest knock on DJ Chark, is that he's 6'3", but he doesn't play like it. Like, he doesn't box out. He doesn't use his size to his advantage. Same with Chase Claypool. They say Chase Claypool is a body catcher. Like, the ball goes up and he tries to catch it like this rather than like this, you know? And then there's other guys like Adam Thielen, Jordy Nelson. Obviously, Jerry Rice was amazing at getting away with pushing off. You mentioned DeAndre Hopkins.
My brother used to be on me about that, the body catching thing.
Yes.
I'd be like 8 or 9 years old. He's 14 years older than me. So he's like, he's in college or
throwing
a little
absolute laser beams at you.
Throwing beams at me. And then like, if I caught it with my body, he'd be, no, your hands. And I'd be like, it's just like a little kid. And he's just firing them at me.
40-mile-per-hour fastballs.
Yeah. I mean, he was playing at Maryland at the time. He's in college. Like, absolutely no business throwing that to a kid.
But like, yeah, so there are guys that can do that. The day I really realized it was one specific clip that I saw. I've mentioned on the show before, but AJ Green in the end zone had a guy AJ Green's facing the quarterback. He's got a guy who's facing him, like covering him like this, right? AJ Green.
Wait, which way is AJ Green facing?
So I'm facing the quarterback. I'm AJ Green.
The other guy?
And the other guy's facing the wrong way. This way. So he's looking right into AJ Green.
You're AJ Green. We're the other guy, essentially.
Yeah. So it's like you're looking at me in the eyes. AJ Green, the ball goes up. AJ Green goes like this and puts his hands right in the middle. And then the moment the ball gets there, he goes over here and catches it. The ball was over here the whole time, but he just froze the defender right here. And that's when I realized that, like, these guys are playing. The real top dogs are playing checkers, and everybody else is. I mean, sorry, the real top dogs are playing checkers. the real top dogs are
playing coloring.
The real top dogs playing checkers, and the bottom dogs are playing hungry hippos. They're playing 52 pickup.
AJ Green, a checkers wizard.
Checkers.
Master.
Scop.
King me, baby.
King me. Yeah.
Hop it all around the board, baby.
King me.
Yeah. I'll see if I can find that clip so we can show you guys what I'm talking about. But there's not.
We need to have like a freeze frame clip of it where he just moves his hand and then it freezes and then the crown comes down.
It comes down slow, like a pixelated crown.
Some trap beat comes in.
Keith, you candled that this morning?
Yeah. Drop everything you were doing. We
bring
need
that vision to life.
Thank you. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Well, outside of football, I have to bring up one thing that happened this weekend. This is one of the greatest sports weekends ever. You just get to sit down and watch people's dreams come true as they make the Sweet 16. But we watched for the second time ever, another 1 seed lose to a 16 seed in the NCAA tournament. Fairleigh Dickinson taking down Purdue. And I don't know if you guys saw some of the statistics they were throwing out there, but this makes the UMBC Virginia upset look like nothing, look like a walk in the park. Like, this Fairleigh Dickinson team wasn't even supposed to be in the NCAA tournament. They got in because of a technicality. They did not win their conference during the regular season, third, and then they did not win their conference tournament. But the team that did win it was not eligible for the NCAA tournament because they had recently transitioned up from Division II. And that's why Fairleigh Dickinson's in there. They are literally the shortest team in KenPom of effective height. So Purdue is number 1 in effective height. Fairleigh Dickinson is number 363 out of 363 in effective height. And
they're shorties?
I don't quite know what effective height means. I guess it's just like the way you use your height in a game. I'm not sure, but it's so
it's not like
no, this is a bizarre level. You play this game 100 times. This probably happens 1 out of 100 times. The upset that occurred last week. And the Purdue coach in the press conference afterwards, I don't know if you saw me sitting there and he's just like, yeah, this is a bad one.
Oh,
He's like, yeah, we're just gonna have to sit with this one for a little bit. And it hurts. He's like, not to take away anything from them, but yeah, you work all season to put yourself in the best position to succeed in this tournament. And we did it. We got the 1 seed. and we throw it away like this.
Oh.
And it was just like brutal. It was just the dead, like still couldn't believe what had happened.
Did you see the whiteboard that was left in the Purdue's locker room?
No, I did not. Oh, with the whole chunk missing out of it.
Missing a good chunk of that. Yeah, I can imagine that the Purdue coach had a matching mark on his knuckles there. Yeah. He took that whiteboard out behind. He took it out behind the woodshed.
What was it? A whiteboard?
Yeah, it used to be.
Oh.
And then my favorite part is that somebody took it and pointed out that the hole he punched in the whiteboard kind of looks like New Jersey, which is where Fairleigh Dickinson is from.
He did that on purpose.
Wreaking havoc. Yeah. Whiteboards were just getting traumatized this weekend. I think I was on the call with JL on Friday whenever I was just like Tom Izzo and they cut to Tom Izzo on the sideline and just snaps a whiteboard in half mid-game, then he's back to it, ready to go.
I feel like at some point it becomes theatric, you know? Like he's just doing it for the energy, for the gram, for the lulls.
In high school one time, my wrestling coach, a kid on my team got pinned. I was up next and he just takes his clipboard, snaps it in half, then he goes, Grunewald, think I need a new clipboard. Then he walks to the other side of the mat.
That's a hilarious quote.
I think I need a new clipboard.
I think so too.
Was he asking you to go get one?
No, I think he was just
just telling you because you were there. You saw it.
I saw it. He didn't mean for anybody to see it, and he was just like, "Well, yeah, we were both there. We both know what just happened."
That's really funny.
Yeah. The someone on Twitter said that Fairleigh Dickinson sounds like the name of a day 3 offensive tackle, and I can't get it out of my mind.
Fairleigh Dickinson.
Right. They select
I'm
Fairleigh
pretty sure
Dickinson.
He played at Lenore Ryan.
Fairleigh
Dickinson, Lenore Ryan. Tell me that doesn't sound right. As like whenever they're saying their name before the game.
Sounds like a guy that should go in like the 6th round, but Bill Belichick takes him like the early 2nd.
Yeah. And he actually kills it.
And everyone's like, who the hell?
He absolutely kills it.
I saw UMBC was like, follow FDU.
I love it coming together and reaching out to Purdue fans to make sure they're all right. The college basketball subreddit is going to have infinite line graphs and line charts explaining just how bad this loss was during the offseason. So I'm excited to see the beautiful art they come up with in Microsoft Paint over there.
Those wizards with Microsoft Paint.
It's consistent. They make magic.
Yeah. So there was another signing that happened yesterday. Another favorite of the show, Mr. CJGJ.
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 CJ Gardner-Johnson signed with the Detroit Lions. So CJGJ was arguably one of the best remaining free agents, if not the best. He definitely was the best remaining safety on the free agent market. He signs with the Detroit Lions on a 1-year, $8 million deal with $6.5 million guaranteed. Yet another loss for this Eagles defense. So last year, from a fantasy perspective, the Eagles DST was up there. Like we're talking 49ers, Cowboys, Eagles, kind of all in the mix as the best defenses. Do you think this defense can bounce back here? They kept their corners, but they've lost Javon Hargrave. They lost TJ Edwards. They lost CJGJ. Are you worried about this Eagles defense, or how you boys feeling?
When they lost their coordinators as well, right? On both sides of the ball.
Huge.
So like it's not just their defensive coordinator gone. There's going to be a lot of transition on this team. I imagine here's what I expect to happen. Beginning of the season, it's probably going to be a little rough. But they still have talent on that defense. It may be a different look than we're used to seeing, but by the end of the year, I bet it's a top 3rd defense that we're looking at as they head into the playoffs. Maybe not top 1 like we're looking at, but top 10.
I wonder if this is probably one of the worst outcomes for the Eagles. The fact that they didn't win the Super Bowl, but got close enough to get just absolutely dismantled in the offseason is tragic because this team looks so good. I'm not ready to say that they're going to be bad going into this year, but there's a lot of variables changing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty scary. Though, I mean, at least they kept the 2 top corners, right? Like you can work off that. Now they're going to definitely be a bit of a pass funnel outside in because they kept their top 2 corners and lost everybody over the middle. But at least you can lean into that. So not the end of the world, but we gonna see.
What do you think, Coop?
I mean, that's that. I think that it's really gonna depend on what they can do in the draft because much like running back on offense, linebacker is something that with the right pick and the right player, they can make an impact right away. Like just like you can go out and get a Tyler Algier that can run for 1,000 yards, you can go out and draft. If you get one of the best middle linebackers in the draft, that dude can have 100 tackles, right? Like that in that's what these guys are doing. And I think that when you lose a guy like TJ Edwards, a lot is going to boil down to if they can get that guy. Like look at Micah Parsons for the Cowboys. Like immediately transform that defense. If they can find somebody over the middle, whether it's with their first round pick, whether it's a safety or they have two high end picks. We forget that they got one from the Saints. So I think they have 2 first round picks. So if they can get guys that are impact players right away, that can be huge. On the flip side, if you blow those picks, I think they're going to be hurt. The offense is looking good, right? Like these guys are all locked up pretty much to decent deals. On defense, they got to hit on those picks. That's what's going to boil down to.
They gotta. Now, on the other side of this trade, the Lions, or of this signing, this Lions team, their offense was up there with the most prolific in the league last year. They had it working on offense for most of the season. It was the defense that was causing them major troubles. Do you think this team is truly competitive next season? Like a playoff team? Are you viewing the Lions as a playoff team as we head into the 2023-24 NFL season?
I think they were a playoff team last year. They got pretty close.
Very close. Yeah.
They got pretty close. So, yeah, I think they absolutely are. I think all the offseason changes. What do we got for the Lions so far? David Montgomery, CJ GJ.
So long, Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
Jamal Williams.
Classic Dan Campbell fashion. He came out and said, we're going to focus on our own guys first. And then that's what they did. They brought back not only did they focus on their own guys that were there, like they signed Alex Anzalone. I love the Alex Anzalone signing because I specifically remember when I was writing my articles last year that he was a roster bubble guy where it was like he might just get cut for the money and not be back. And then he came back and played awesome. And then they signed him to a 3-year, almost $20 million deal. So he went from a guy that almost got cut to save $1 million or whatever to a guy that they said, hey, you're a permanent part of this team. So I love that for him. They brought back John Kaminsky. They brought back Michael Badgley. They brought back Matt Nelson. They went out and brought back Graham Glasgow, who was with the Lions, went to the Broncos, and then they brought him back, and the fans love that guy. So, just Dan Campbell doing Dan Campbell things that makes the fans happy.
I hope things work out in Detroit for Dan Campbell. I just enjoy watching him run that team. It seems very like movie coach-esque in the way that he implores the positive parts of teamwork and working together. And it's fun to watch a hard-ass teamwork focused coach kind of play out successfully in the NFL.
Yeah. Now, I think at the end of the day, we all know what it boils down to. Is Jared Goff the guy or is he a guy?
Can the answer be both?
I think it can be. If the rest, we've seen, we don't have to go through the full list, but if Trent Dilfer can win the Super Bowl, right, then Jared Goff can win the Super Bowl.
He already almost did.
Almost did, man. And he's a really good guy. I will say that.
A little quicker than that.
So we'll see. If I were the Lions, though, honestly, I would draft if possible, I would go for one of if they slide, one of these low floor, high upside quarterbacks. Like if Anthony Richardson falls or Will Levis falls, why not? Right? That's exactly what the Chiefs and Eagles did. They had quarterbacks in place, and in the late first and second round, They just took stabs on the highest upside guys, even with the lowest floors. And then those guys ended up winning out the jobs. And we forget that Alex Smith had back-to-back Pro Bowl seasons his last 2 years with the Chiefs. Alex Smith's last year with the Chiefs was as good as Jared Goff's season last year. It was actually what Jared Goff did last year, except with more rushing yards. But Patrick Mahomes is just that good that he took over. So if I was the Lions, I would seriously consider drafting a quarterback, start Jared Goff this year, and if Jared Goff is the guy, then you can trade that quarterback. Patriots did it. We've seen the Cardinals did it. They were able to get a second back for Josh Rosen, right? So, like, just go for it. See if you can catch lightning in a bottle. Worst case scenario, you still have Jared Goff. That's where I'm at.
I'm with you. It makes sense. It makes sense. And Hal in the chat saying Richardson at 18 would be fire.
Perfect pick. If Richardson is a game-changing super mega star quarterback, then he's the guy. And if he's not, then you just kind of prove to yourself that Jared Goff is the guy. You're leaving no stone unturned with a move like that.
You got to flip all the stones every single time.
Flip them all.
Can't leave any of them unturned.
You guys used to flip stones looking for snakes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
With snake hunting, you ever catch any? You ever surprise your parents? Like they're always like, "Yeah, go have fun snake hunting." Then you come back with like a big ass snake, and they're like, "Suddenly you're not allowed to snake hunt anymore."
Does that happen to you?
One time,
we would find snakes, but then we just wouldn't, or we go tell my dad, be like, "Oh, cool."
I watched one too many episode of like Crocodile Hunter. I was like, "Oh, I know. You just got to push on the back of their head and then grab them like that."
I'll tell you, Ani Coop hates snakes, so I'm definitely getting a text momentarily about the snake talk. She, not a snake fan.
Slithery snakes.
She don't like them slithery boys.
How does she feel about snakes on a plane?
I think that would be even worse for her.
Where do we stand as a show on that movie?
Awesome.
Pro.
Never seen it.
That's one of those ones that I've never seen, but I feel like I got the idea.
So good. I've watched it so much. I've watched it enough for both of you guys.
How many times have you seen snakes on a plane?
60.
That's a very high number.
I watch it every time I get on a plane.
Right before.
Tradition. Volume on.
Bear myself.
Out loud. We got Dustin in the chat saying, "Sup, dudes? What's up, Dustin?"
Sup, Dustin?
But you should definitely do the hard weddle today. You should definitely do.
All right.
It's our automatic response because Keith tells us stuff. Sorry, Dustin.
I actually was thinking about Dustin yesterday. I tagged him in a tweet because I saw there was a tweet that went out that said Matt Damon, Jason Sudeikis. Who's this whole? Let me get the crew exactly right here. Matt Damon, Jason Sudeikis, Bradley Cooper, and it's Jason Bateman. Ben Affleck, Bradley Cooper, Matt Damon, Jason Bateman.
One more time.
Ben Affleck, Bradley Cooper, Matt Damon, Jason Bateman. They're all in a Wordle group chat together. And he said, you have to do the Wordle, the Quirtle, and the Octortle, and then add up your score. And then the total is your score. It's fiercely competitive, and there's a lot of mockery and derision. So these guys taking Wordle very seriously.
That's awesome. The Octurtle. I got to add that to my rotation. I do the Wordle and the Quirtle. I have not been doing the Octurtle. Well, I've been making some Octurtles first thing in the morning, but I haven't been doing the Octurtle on my computer.
Saw that one coming.
Yeah, it just kind of laid itself in front of me.
It really did. About the sixth time we said Octurtle, it really clicked.
You solve 8 words at once with the Octurtle. These guys must be doing Wordle for like an hour every morning.
This is a significant part of their day.
Seriously.
Oh God, I can't believe I still have to do the Octurtle.
I want to go to bed.
It's 11:58. They're racing. They've got 7 out of 8 words. Nothing is fitting with the letters they have left. Matt Damon's gonna make fun of me.
Matt Damon's gonna make fun of me.
God, knowing Matt Damon was going to make fun of me would be really great motivation to finish a task.
Oh yeah,
I would not.
Feels like he's mean.
Oh, he would be so nasty. I feel like
mean in like I'm better than you type of way, but subtle. You know what I mean? Like he's going to tear you down.
going to be subtly condescending. Like he's tearing you down while all the words say he's building you up.
Exactly.
Like every word is going to be
stupid to notice.
Exactly. Every word's going to be building you up, but the whole time he's just chopping you lower and lower.
He's not an outwardly mean guy.
You're not. I'm Matt Damon. You're not.
He's chopping you down like a tree.
And then when he's not around, you just like, I could be Matt Damon too.
So I totally fight him.
Throw that Matt Damon.
Joey said these are terrible impressions of all those actors. Yeah, well,
how do you like them apples?
Take that,
Joseph. Jalen Ramsey was introduced to the Miami Dolphins this weekend at a press conference, and he was talking about Mike McDaniels and had a quote that I loved. He came out and said, "Coach is a little weird, but we're all weird in our own way. He's not fake. Seems cool."
That feels like everybody's progression with Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
It's like, that
dude
is hella weird.
I mean, but I guess like I'm a little weird too.
I kind of like weird.
He's not fake. Like,
yeah.
You know, he's pretty cool. Yeah, you're right. They kind of go in sequence down the journey.
Yeah.
But you could, at the end of that, he's like, well, he's not being that weird on purpose, so he's definitely just being himself, right? Like, like he's definitely not fake, that's for sure.
Also, Tommy down here was saying, says the guys who play games for 3 hours every morning.
Oh,
making fun of them for doing all three of the Wordles.
No, that's fair.
I can't believe they spend an hour doing that as we spend an hour playing hypothetically.
As we say, now it's time for Dear Diarrhea.
I think that's on the schedule today.
Indeed, it is. So we are going to Dear Diarrhea a little bit later.
Got to.
Got to.
You got to.
Well, another signing that we haven't talked about yet, and Coop, this one at your favorite position. Did we already talk about Big Buns Tunyon?
No.
I know we didn't.
Big Buns Tunyon has signed with the Chicago Bears. So in division of his former team, the Packers, he's now over there on the Bears, ruining things for Cole Kmet.
Yeah, that's going to be a weird situation because Tunyon is he's built more like an inline tight end, but the Packers at least pretty much exclusively used him as a pass catching tight end because they had one of the best blocking tight ends of our generation, honestly. Even though he's up there in age, Mercedes Lewis is a tremendous blocking tight end. So we don't really know how it's going to split out, whether Cole Kmet's going to play more inline, whether Tunyon's going to play more inline. But I'll tell you this, it's not good for fantasy football, especially because the DJ Moore signing already put Cole Kmet on the outside looking in. With a team like this that was dead last in pass attempts last year, we need Cole Kmet to be a top 2 target on this team. They're not going to go from dead last to like 3rd in the league. Maybe they'll go up as high as 15th, but the 15th passing offense in the NFL can't support 3 different pass catchers, especially with a mobile quarterback. So it's DJ Moore at the top, and then it's Cole Kmet versus Darnell Mooney versus Chase Claypool. And the very last thing we needed was another tight end in that mix. So for me, Cole Kmet, I might just have to be straight up out on him. It's starting to look like that.
It's going to be a no for me, dog.
Yeah.
No for me, dog.
Are you guys willing to, it's tough because we don't know. The one thing I will point to is that we've played this game with DJ Moore before when the Carolina Panthers had a new coach and a new quarterback, Matt Rule, and Sam Darnold came in. We were drafting DJ Moore at wide receiver 9 because in our minds we were like, DJ Moore is the dude. And then we were drafting Robbie Anderson and Curtis Samuel at wide receiver 54 and 60. And what ended up happening? It was a brand new coach, brand new offense, brand new quarterback, and Robbie Anderson and Curtis Samuel scored more PPR points than DJ Moore. So there is some uncertainty there. We think it's DJ Moore, but it might not be. So
maybe it's Darnell Moon.
Maybe it's Moondog. It could be.
No, this just hurts my feelings that we're sitting here talking about like it has to be one pick. Those are 2 of my favorite wide receivers for fantasy, but you're right, Coop. This probably is DJ Moore. He is immediately the best receiving option on that team upon signing there. And I know there's a lot of love for some other players on that team, guys like Moondog, guys like Cole Kmet. But unless this offense does a complete 180 in how they're running, and with Justin Fields at quarterback with the strengths that he has, I don't think we're going to see that. There's not enough room for these other pieces to be fantasy relevant. It's going to be a guessing game between the other guys, maybe.
Big Bunny Tunney. It's a new Jimmy Graham. New Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham.
People forget that. Like, that's what really did hold Cole Kmet back. Jimmy Graham inexplicably got, in his last year, like 8 end zone targets. They would just put him in the game he would play like 4 snaps and get 2 end zone targets. That was his role on that team. Just a nightmare for Cole Kmet.
Hal down here wants to know, will Claypool get some love with the 3rd or 4th coverage guy defending him?
It's entirely possible, but now that they have 2 tight ends, we got to think of it in terms of who's going to be playing the full snaps, because if they're going to have 2 tight ends on the field, that means only 2 wide receivers. If Claypool isn't going to play every snap, we can't lean on him, you know?
You can't do it.
Right. And I said the same thing with, like, if you look at, I tweeted this out. Nobody cares about fullback tweets though, but if you the Bears
fullback.
Yeah. Thank you, Simon. The Bears brought back Kerry Blasingame, so they are going to use a fullback as well. But you look at what the Broncos are doing, what they're setting up. They brought in Michael Burton, who is the fullback for the Chiefs. He replaced Anthony Sherman over there. But in 2020, he played for the Saints. And when he was on the Saints, he was playing 25 to 35% of the snaps for Sean Payton. So Sean Payton goes out. They already have Greg Dulcich. He goes out, gets Chris Manhertz. That's one of the better blocking tight ends in this league. They go out, they get a fullback. Those guys are going to play snaps. And if the combined snaps for those guys are 30, 40, 50%, that means one of these wide receivers is coming off the field for 30, 40, 50% of the snaps. And that's why you're seeing these rumors of like Cortland Sutton on the trade block, Jerry Jeudy on the trade block. They don't need Patrick, Sutton, Jeudy, KJ Hamler. They only really need 2 of those guys full-time and 1 guy to come in sporadically. So it's, in my opinion, it's a scheme thing. That's why they're doing the trade, not because they don't like the players.
It makes sense.
It's the scheme. Yeah. So for me,
I need Hal in the chat to shut his mouth and never say those words again. Watch Claypool beats out DJ, LMFAO.
I love it, dude.
Those are forbidden chat words, Hal. Absolutely not.
I would love that.
Mapletron just absolutely comes in and ruins everybody's fantasy dreams.
I mean,
shout out Canada.
I've gotten some Claypool based arguments. So I would love for Team Chaos to come in on that one, and for Claypool to be one of the dudes, one of the top dogs.
The man in charge.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I might just stay away from all those guys. I like being on the other side of the situation. Like when this team's loading up, they're going for it now. I like going for the targets on the teams that are tanking, going the opposite. Like if the Cardinals trade DeAndre Hopkins, give me whoever's left over. Give me Marquise Brown, right? Like those guys are going to get peppered. I want that side of this. The Texans trade away Brandin Cooks. Who's left over? Those are the guys.
Collins.
Nico, hey, I believe. Do you believe?
I mean, someone's got to, and I sure believe Nico did something one time.
He did. I mean, his best comparable player, in my opinion, is Kenny Golladay, who, right now we look at it and say, oh, that stinks. But I've seen Kenny Golladay have 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns. So who knows?
Yeah, let's talk about the Texans wide receiver depth chart for a second now. They really don't have much. Surely they'll add something else. But right now it's Nico Collins, Noah Brown, and Robert Woods as their top 3 guys. And Robert Woods really didn't do much last year. I expected more from Robert Woods last season. It does look like he's lost a step.
Yeah. Robert Woods, the thing about him is that he also, when he started in this league, he didn't do a whole lot. He was with the Bills, he did very little. It wasn't until he went to the Rams, and he kind of brute forced his way into a full-time snap share by just being the most well-rounded wide receiver. He is a tremendous blocking wide receiver. Right. And it's like those guys get on the field. So he had just ended up being on the field. Then he really rounded out his game and became a big target guy. But I'm with you on that, Simon, that at this stage in his career, he's probably not getting 120 targets. No. So we got to look elsewhere on here. I like Nico Collins. Noah Brown is, again, probably more of just to me, he's more of a 4th wide receiver than he is a top guy. The one that really interests me, it's a it's a tough situation, low floor situation. But John Mechie,
just about to bring him up.
Right. He, unfortunately, has leukemia, so he's been getting treated for that. But if he can go and get back to the level he was playing at, which is why they made him a second-round pick, the assumptions right now are that the Panthers take C.J. Stroud at 1. The Texans have the second pick. They could get Bryce Young. Do you know who John Mechie's quarterback was in college, Simon?
Let me guess, Bryce Young?
Yeah. So just imagine that connection coming together. What a story that would be. So, I mean, we're all rooting for John Mechie across the board. There's no one that's not. So
what a way to make your transition back into the NFL after something like that. Add the comfort of your college quarterback coming back in with you. That'd be pretty sweet, man.
That'd be nice. Yeah. So we're all rooting for John Mechie. Definitely, if you have Dynasty, keep him stashed. Keep him stashed just to see what happens. Fingers crossed. And of course, the most important thing is his health overall. But if he can come back and play football too, that would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Coop, you want to get into this Weddle for this morning? JL had to step away for a second, but I think we can take care of it without him.
I think we might be able to, but I don't know. If we do lose, I'm willing to completely blame it on JL.
Yeah, 100%. If this is the first time that we don't get to the end, without a doubt, we get to blame it on JL. It almost takes away the pressure from today.
Yeah.
It's JL's fault. If we win, JL gets no credit. And if we lose, it's 100% his fault. It's the perfect situation.
We're playing with house money here.
Okay, Coop, you wanna name the first player that we're starting with today?
Yeah, why don't we name a player that we've already talked about on the show today briefly? How about Robert Tonyan?
Robert Tonyan, Big Buns, Tonyan himself. Okay, the number is correct. I hate it when we get the number.
I know, dude, because now we sit here and we go, is it so-and-so? No, he has that.
No, it makes all the talk so annoying. They're shorter than 6'5". They're younger than 28, so they're 25 or younger, and they're not in the NFC. So it's an AFC, not tight end, numbered 85.
Yeah, and he's at least 6'3", though, right?
At least 6'3", 6'3" or 6'4". So it's probably quarterback.
At least we also no, it's a wide receiver.
Oh, it's definitely
because
a wide receiver.
There's no quarterbacks number 85. But that'd be hilarious if there were.
Jalen in the chat said, if you guys can't solve when I'm not there, then it's going to make me look like the smart one.
Oh, no, we can't. We
absolutely There is risk. Now there's risk. Now there's something on the line.
Risk. Okay, so we need AFC wide receiver 85, under 28, 6'4", 6'3". Is today the day that actually is T. Higgins?
Do we want to put T. Higgins in there?
He might be 6'5", though. Is he? No, I think he's 6'4", and he's number 85.
He is 6'4". Okay, let's try it. It's T. freaking Higgins,
God,
baby.
Dude, we've been guessing T. Higgins
first.
Oh, damn it! We've been guessing him first. We've probably guessed him first 20 times now.
Jail in the chat, a little late. Said T. Higgins is 85, though he's probably on a delay. Missing it over there.
Damn, dude. Well, we got it in 2, but that could have been our day.
Could have been the one. Dustin did say you definitely have to try the hard Weddle today.
Okay.
You want to do the hard one, Coop?
Well, I mean, we got
prove how smart we are without JL.
Dude, clearly we're much smarter without him here. See how quickly we got that first one?
So who could this be if he said definitely do the hard Weddle today? Who's someone that we would – is it Kirk Cousins, you think, maybe? Because it could be anyone, even a quarterback. And Dustin said definitely.
I like to start with a lineman just to get that out of the way.
Okay. Who do you want to start with? McGlinchey?
Yeah, get Mike McGlinchey in there. I like that one.
Mike McGlinchey. Okay. So offense is correct, but not a tackle. They're shorter than 6'8", younger than 28, numbers lower than 69, and they're in the AFC. So an AFC offensive player.
6'8". Good God.
Yeah, that's a really big man.
Yeah, he's a big boy. All right. How about, why don't we do maybe a running back then?
Yeah, let's do maybe a smaller guy, maybe a medium age, a Josh Jacobs. Oh, wait, no, that age is about the same as Mike McGlinchey. Let's do a younger running back than that.
How about James Cook?
James Cook is a good one. James Cook. Okay. Buffalo's correct. The AFC East, obviously correct. Running back's wrong. They're taller than 5'11", but they're close. So 6 foot or 6'1". Age is 23.
Ooh, how old is Gabriel Davis? Is still young. Is he 23 or 24?
I think he's a little bit, I don't know. Isaiah McKenzie, didn't he just get released though?
He got released, yeah.
We can try Gabe Davis. You want to try Davis?
I think Gabe Davis is still wicked young. Like he was very young when he was drafted.
Let's try it. Okay, wide receiver is correct, but he's 6'2".
Okay.
So this person is exactly 6'1", I think. Oh no, they could be 6 foot as well.
He's also 23 years old.
Yeah. The number's lower than 13.
You might have had it when you said
McKenzie.
I thought you said Shakir. No, McKenzie's been around.
Could be Shakir
because McKenzie played for the played for the Broncos before he came over, so he's been around for a bit. Let's do Shakir.
Shakir is correct. Nailed it. Boom.
Oh. Yeah. Dustin said you should have known it was a Bills player if I told you almost had to do it. Yeah, part of me, I think subconsciously felt that way. That's why I went James Cook. That it might have been a Bills guy.
I didn't go that way at all. I immediately thought if Dustin wanted us to do it, it was going to be like a punch in the stomach player. Yeah. It was going to be like someone that's going to make somebody go, "Oh, not that guy."
Right. Exactly like Gabe Davis.
That's the Dustin special. Just like Gabe Davis.
The old gut punch player.
You know, the best part about Gabe Davis this season is that it's exactly what we all should have thought it was going to be. What we all should have thought it was going to be. Are those the right words? Something really sounded wrong as those came out.
No, that's right. That's right.
As we are sort of thought we were going to be. Nailed it.
Simple.
Welcome back, John Luke. You missed it. We did the Weddle and the hard Weddle.
It was Shakir.
Oh, great job. Thanks for your input. Really got it. Dustin said also wants you to talk about Shakir. So, Coop, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, he now has an opportunity to potentially be the slot guy on this team after releasing Isaiah McKenzie. Again, this is a team that likes 2 tight end sets. They have a fullback, Reggie Gilliam. So I'm not sure if it's going to be a full-time gig, but I will tell you this. At a certain point of your rookie draft, you have to draft day 3 picks. You can't just only take guys that got drafted in the first 3 rounds. And of the day 3 picks, the 2 guys that I liked best were Calvin Austin and Shakir, just because if I'm going to go for these guys, I need to paint myself some sort of picture of how they're going to be good at the next level. And this guy has crazy athleticism, crazy speed. So if I'm just taking stabs, give me speed. If I'm going to pick from this group, like I'm not going to take Eric Akuzoma, whatever his name is, from the Dolphins, who is a slower guy and is probably just going to return punts. So I think it's worth a shot, but I also think the Bills are a prime candidate to draft a wide receiver. And because they have Diggs, that means they're 1 wide receiver away from everybody below Diggs on the depth chart just getting vaporized. So now would be a great time to trade Khalil Shaker, in my opinion.
Makes sense. Not that he doesn't have that upside, but just the situation he's in makes it seem unlikely that value is going to return this year. It doesn't exist. But Hal in the chat saying he's so effing quick.
Yes, that is why we like him. I know that JJ Zacharyson is a big fan of his. So, and he's pretty good at fantasy football. That JJ guy.
Pretty good, or so I've heard. Well, guys, coming up, we're going to talk a little bit more about that thing that JJ Zacharyson is pretty good at, fantasy football. And we're going to hand out some superlatives as well. We're going to put some new entries in our diaries in a segment we call Dear Diarrhea. And we've got a Dynasty tight end premium coming up. And then we'll help Reddit answer their toughest questions with the best answers possible. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Talk about your picks and your fantasy teams on Better Sports Network.
The importance of checking out the site that you're playing on. Default rankings of these sites. A lot of times they don't get updated. I know from experience. I used to write default rankings for the NFBKC, the basketball version of the NFBC. I'd write these default rankings in June for the NBA, before the NBA draft, before free agency opened up. And guess what? I was never asked to write an update article or update the default rankings. This happens a lot. Maybe if there's something obvious, it gets updated. Aaron Judge, for some reason, hurts his back. Maybe they make that change. Just maybe. But you don't know that. And that's why it's just so important that you show up to your draft room or you do that pre-draft prep. We're all busy. We know we're about to devote a lot of time to our fantasy baseball drafts. Why not spend the extra 20 to 25 minutes to invest properly in your team, to go and see which of those players are way down default rankings? They're going to be different on all of these sites, and you're going to be looking at them and going, maybe their analysts think a certain player who shouldn't be in the top 100, who should be maybe even not even the top 200, will be in that top 100. You got to check that out. You got to know where you're playing, just like you got to know your format when you sign up for the league. It's just so crucial, and people just skip right over it. You think it's cool to show up to the draft room 3 minutes before the draft. Well, number one, it's not cool because the commissioner's trying to make sure it is organized, especially me, who runs auctions. You can't, it's one thing if someone doesn't show up for the snake draft. Oh, well, doesn't ruin it for everyone. Auctions, you can't have someone not show up. Auto bidding, auto auctioning, it ruins the sanctity of those drafts here, which is why I always recommend, hey, make it easy on your commissioner. Don't make them send those texts there. It's annoying. You shouldn't have to do that. Don't wait till the last minute and get in there about 20, 25 minutes before so you can just look up and down the entire default rankings list so you can make a queue out of that, Ron. And the reason I keep saying this is because people still show up 2, 3 minutes before the draft, and that's it. In fact, in one of my auctions, people were asking me where certain players were, and I go, did you search their name? No, I just got in. Well, that's no excuse right there. That's your own fault. I mean, you're organized, so you're a hard person to ask here.
You're getting those questions. This is your preschool league, right? People don't know how to search player names.
People freak out. They don't think. That's the problem. Because they show up 2 minutes before the draft. That's why.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. We are back here on the Better Sports Network. It's Coop and the Hogs, baby.
Oh, yeah. Simon's gone, baby. Cancel the show sheet. It's Coop and the Hogs.
Coop and the Hogs. First on the docket. What's the grub today, Coop?
Hog talk.
Hog talk.
What's the grub? We've been eating a lot of homemade pizza around this house. That's
homemade in what way? You go out and you buy the dough. Is it like a rollout dough?
Yeah,
or you
yeah.
make your own dough?
No, so we've done the make your own dough, but it honestly comes out virtually.
Make my own dough every day.
Make my own dough on this show, dog. But no, it comes out virtually the same. So now we just go back to buying it's just easier. And then you do your own
sauce,
own toppings. It depends what kind of pizza you're doing, man. Depends what kind of pizza you're doing. Because we did one yesterday that is Brussels sprouts. Right, with
Brussels sprout sauce.
Yeah, Brussels sprout sauce. No, it's a white pizza, so it's like an Alfredo sauce, and then it's cheese and Brussels sprouts with balsamic glaze on there. Ooh.
Is this a pizza?
Très bon. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's very much a pizza.
Ooh. No tomato sauce. You're going straight Alfredo in the sauce.
You never had white pizza. You never had white pizza, dude.
Sounds rich AF. White pizza doesn't have Alfredo though, right? Isn't right? White pizza is like garlic, butter.
I'm gonna admit something to you, JL. The pizza making process is much more of my wife's bag than me, so I don't really know what goes into it. So when I say we make homemade pizza, I mean she does. And when I say we eat homemade pizza, I mean me.
I see.
Yeah,
she doesn't eat; she just cooks for you.
Doesn't eat. She actually doesn't eat at all.
Wow.
Yeah, she's a robot.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, my robot.
It's not
wife,
really many other explanations, other than robot.
My lovely robot
point.
wife. Yeah, pizza maker. She's actually just a pizza machine.
How'd you two meet?
We were at a Papa Gino's, and I ran in the back. We were at Papa G's. I ran in the back, stole her from the kitchen, threw her in my car, and brought her home. My wife's she's a brick oven.
She's I see.
She's a brick oven. So
Simon said, there's different varieties for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's true. And
Blanco
Joey said Blanc?
is so Blanco, I think, is the one we do.
Blanco is the garlic and oil one, I believe.
Yeah, Easy A's in the chat saying she likes the paddle. Yes, she loves that pizza paddle.
Are you talking about the pizza, the thing that you put in the brick oven to grab the pizzas? That's the paddle? Okay.
And I say, pizza's ready. That's a paddling.
That's terrible. That's so bad.
Yeah. All right.
She just paddles you back.
Paddles me right back.
All right. I want to get into some superlatives, Coop.
Yeah. Why don't we jump in and start hitting a couple of those puppies while we wait for Simon to get back?
All right. This is your first time joining us for some superlatives. We got a whole list of superlatives, very similar to like your high school superlatives list, in the yearbook. Class clown, most likely to be a villain. Everybody had those at their high school. We're doing them here. And we got to Coop and Simon, whenever he joins back, are going to be nominating players for each of these superlatives. And then you all get to vote in the chat. So I'm going to throw some polls in the chat. You tell us who wins each of these superlatives.
Yes. And for those of you who are in the Better Sports app right now, first of all, thank you for joining. Second of all, smash that fun button. Third of all, call in if you would like to join in. We love when people call in. It's a morning show. You guys are a big part of the show, so call in and play. But fourth of all, if you want to vote in the chat, you got to do that on YouTube. So go to frontyardfantasy.com, hop in there, hit that like button. If you guys, I'm looking at right now, it looks like there's only 3 likes on here, which makes me sad. And
hit that like button.
If we don't get more likes, then the porn bots are never going to show up. And then how are we going to know if we're doing a good job or not? If
we define our self-worth on the porn bots. So please.
Exactly. There seems to be some sort of algorithm where they glob onto the popular YouTube channels, and then the bots come in and they say, hey,
all the good ones, it seems. Yeah.
All the good. They're like, hey, meet horny signals in your area. Click this link, right? Like if those people don't show up in the chat,
redundant.
That's what I'm saying, dude. But like if they don't show up here, then how do we know that we're doing a good job or at least a mediocre job? But we ask people to like our channel and then they do it. So smash that like button and let's get to some superlatives, yo.
All right. Craig in the chat said, I was banned from FYF YouTube. How do I vote now?
Yes.
You were a moderator, so you probably banned yourself, would be my guess.
Right. Or you slandered Evan Ingram at some point, which is how most people have been banned from the chat.
That is usually how it happens. All right. Our first superlative. Coop, you are nominating first here. Most likely to become a meme.
Ooh, most likely to become a meme. Let's see. So I could pick Mike Gesicki because he's already kind of a meme, but I doubt Belichick's going to let him do the gritty anymore in New England. I think
that was like in the contract.
It was the first page. It was like no gritty.
Not gritty here.
Yeah, so there'll be no grittying in New England.
Also, I see Adam in the chat said hola.
Hola.
And Albert in here said good morning, everyone. Good morning, Albert.
¿Cómo estás?
Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, the gang. See, the gang's trickling, and dude, it's because those likes, a couple extra likes, and then like Albert's not going to come.
Albert gets his FYF tingle where he's like, "Oh, I gotta go."
He's not going to join some show that only has 3 likes. It needs to have at least 4. And then Albert's in here, and then he smashes that like button and that subscribe button, and now we're all hanging out.
Now it's party.
Now,
all right, what do you got? What do you got? Most likely to become a meme.
Most likely to become a meme. Why don't you go ahead and go first on this one?
Yeah, so I was about to offer. All right, I will go first on this one, and this might be chalk, but I have to go this way. I mean, there's just no other answer. It's Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yes.
Come on, most likely to become a meme. I can't not see that face in the helmet with the chin strap up above the mouth. That's just perfect.
Yeah, that meme is beautiful. Not to mention like the whole emerge from the darkness thing. Like I think
no disrespect to Aaron Rodgers, but yeah, I think even he would admit that he is prone to the memes.
Yeah, a certain level of being weird is always going to land you there.
Always going to get you there. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So for mine, I think I'm going to go with, I'm going to use my one Jamal Williams answer on this one. Where just recently I saw Jamal Williams at his new press conference with his new team, trying to make a good impression, wearing a Pokemon hat.
Eevee hat. Be right.
Was it
specific?
Was it Eevee?
It was Eevee.
Dude, I honestly only got one click glance at it. I thought it might have been Pikachu.
It kind of looked like Pikachu, but yeah, the whole clip is him talking, like explaining Eevee to the reporters.
Okay,
He's like, Eevee turns into a bunch of other Pokemon.
Oh, awesome, dude. The Eevee hat is kind of a boomer test because everyone that doesn't know is going to call it Pikachu.
100%.
100%. So yeah, give me Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams feels a bit like a cheat code when you couldn't come up with an answer, but I will accept it.
Yeah, it really is though. That's why I said I'm using my one Jamal Williams. You're only allowed to use Dan Campbell or Jamal Williams for one. You can't just answer them for everyone because they kind of would be the answer to most of these.
Yeah, man. And I want to see a Hard Knocks this year. Now with like Deuce Staley gone and Jamal Williams gone, it's probably so sad.
Yeah, I know, dude. I said it before that the contract with HBO Hard Knocks should be whatever team has Jamal Williams gets to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. I threw that poll in the chat. Who's most likely to become a meme, Aaron Rodgers or Jamal Williams? Go ahead and throw your votes on there now.
Oh, look what we have here.
Welcome back.
What's up?
Oh, look what else we have. We got a call in from our good buddy Hal. Working grind.
What up, Hal?
What up, fellas?
Are you in the sky right now?
I think you guys missed a really good. Oh yeah, down in Detroit right now.
Love it.
There you go.
Look at that.
Yeah, watch the sunrise over Canada.
Beautiful. Dude, so real quick, not to interrupt you, but I just recently found out that if you go directly south from Detroit, it's Canada.
Oh, dude, we would be going to concerts all the time down here in Detroit. And if you head south on I-75 and you don't pay attention, you will end up at the tunnel to Canada with customs and not a good
Border
thing
Patrol.
at a teenager going to a concert.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You just
directions.
That's
I
the
see what
old.
you're saying.
That's the old.
Who is the navigator? We need to decide now.
Right.
You got to play it cool if you get down there, too. You can't just whip a U. You got to pull up and be like, oh,
My bad.
Yeah,
terrible. Glad I'm an adult now.
Detroit's just like a big. It's like a big tub, and at the bottom is the DUI drain that you just fall into if you're not careful.
Into Canada.
Yeah, and you end up at the Caesars Windsor.
There you go.
There you go.
Awesome.
Man. You got a meme player for us, Hal?
Oh, I think you missed the most obvious one. It's got to be Russ.
Russ
is walking me.
Oh my god.
Let's ride.
He makes his own memes.
You're right. You're right.
Oh
man, Coop, that would have been such a better answer than yours.
So much better than mine. I wasted my Jamal Williams answer. I'm taking House. That's my answer now.
Too late. The poll's already out.
He's like, quick, kick Hal off. I'm taking his answer.
Quick, get him out.
No one ever saw anything.
I appreciate the heads up, Al.
I'll talk to you guys.
Peace out.
Yeah,
Hal's got our back coming in, and we're about to move on from the meme category without saying Russell Wilson.
Right?
I know. So
I am
good,
ashamed.
And I'm going to be honest. I had one in mind, and I wasn't going to say Russ. Russ was not going to be the next name out of my mouth.
Who was it going to be?
What was it going to be?
It was going to be one Mr. new head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, Jonathan Gannon.
Oh,
most likely to be a meme. He's begging to have memes made of everything he does.
He is a meme on this show already. You're fast.
You're fast.
You're fast.
You can run. He just looks.
God, he would love quick guy, fast time. Fast guy, quick time.
Dude, the way he looks at Rondale Moore, like scans him up and down like he's a piece of meat. That video is one of my favorites.
Hal in the chat saying Gannon could be the new king.
King
of what? Who knows?
Keith, can we pull up that Gannon video one more time when you have a second? I just want to watch it one more time. I know I've said one more time like 10 times, but just one more.
Just one more time.
Just one more. I swear. Is it true that Craig was banned from the FYF YouTube?
I don't know.
Is he actually still
I
banned?
I'm hearing of it, if it's the case.
Why don't you just tell us your vote
Head
out
to a
loud
roll, Greg.
And if it's one of my players, then we'll count it. And if it's not, then we won't.
We've got Everil in the YouTube chat saying the real meme is Wilson the MILF Hunter.
The other
over there in New York.
Zach Wilson. True. That's a good one, too.
Right? That's a good meme. That's a top tier NFL meme. Zach Wilson.
He's kind of just got like the one. Well, no, he's got a couple memes now, right? Like the MILF Hunter one. He's also got like Big Baby, like the no. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like Billy Ray Cyrus. He's got one main hit and then a recent song "You're Okay."
That's his Achy Breaky Heart.
Yeah, Achy Breaky Heart is the Cougar Hunter, and then the remake of Miley's song that he did recently is like his no.
No. All right, guys. Well, we got that poll going in the chat. In the meantime, let's move on to our next superlative here.
Let's do it.
The superlative is simple. Class clown.
Ooh.
Who is the class clown? Coop, why don't you go first for us on this one?
So there's such a chalk answer here. There's such a chalk answer to pick that I think I have to pick it. If I get the opportunity to go first and the question is class clown, then it has to be George Kittle for me. George Kittle is he's such a goon. He's such a goon. And he's even pranking the cameras mid-game. It might have even been a playoff game where it was towards the end of the season. Did you see him with like the camera focused in on him and he was just like he's just such a goober, man, a lovable goober too. That George Kittle's my pick for the class clown.
No, that makes
George
sense.
Kittle.
Yeah.
Someone had to for sure pick George Kittle, I feel like.
All right, Simon.
This is tricky. Class clown. Does it have to be current? Can it be
No.
Can it be formal? Former?
You can do anybody.
I feel like Strahan was a class clown and still plays it up a little bit. So I'm gonna go with Michael Strahan here. That dude is just goofy to the max, right? But not in like not goofy in the way that Gannon's goofy. He's got like a charming goofiness to him.
He's a ham. That's what Michael Strahan is. Right?
100%. He's a ham.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, he's a big ham.
It's definitely a different kind of class clown than Kittle.
For
he
sure.
makes me smile whenever I see Strahan.
All right, Michael Strahan, George Kittle, and I'm gonna go with Tyreek Hill. And there's a specific moment that just comes to mind when I think of this. It's him throwing up the peace sign, the deuces, while running a play to the end zone. Like that is peak class clown. You don't get more class clown than that. I gotta go Tyreek Hill.
Right. He's like him and Strahan are different kinds of clowns. Like Tyreek Hill is the one that's always getting in trouble.
He's causing a little mischief. He's pulling the fire alarm.
He's going to the principal's office. But
he's going to the principal's office. He lives there. Yeah.
The kids love it though.
He got you in trouble, and he's standing behind the teacher as she's yelling at you, like
dancing.
Like exactly. He's that kid. Ooh, JL, I see it now. I would not have been my answer, but you painted a picture that I couldn't stop seeing.
Hal says,
my mind went straight to Tyreek Hill, and I kept trying to think there's better class clowns out there, but I just got stuck on him. He really stands out.
Hal says, is Gronk eligible? Gronk is the kind of dude that what he thinks.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, but he's the kind of dude where he thinks it's a prank, but it's really just not. I mean, just pour a thing of milk on the ground. He's like, look at the milk.
So wet.
Everyone's like, what, dude?
Milk everywhere.
Puddle.
Yeah.
Hey Dom, did you pee this milk ale on the floor over here?
It's that's a prank, right? Yeah.
Michael said Jameis Winston is probably the biggest class clown.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Honestly,
yeah,
baby.
He missed some games in college for some class clown tomfoolery.
True.
Jumping on tables and screaming stuff. Tell me that's not an elementary school class clown thing. I'm pretty sure
class clown.
I got suspended from after school program for doing that exact thing in kindergarten. Not the words he said, but jumping on tables and screaming. That wasn't in my vocabulary in kindergarten.
All right, let's get into our next one here. That poll is up. Who wins class clown? We got nominated George Kittle, Michael Strahan, and Tyreek Hill. Our next superlative, most creative excuse maker.
Like they missed practice and they're showing up and they gotta say something to coach about like why they weren't there.
Yeah.
You know, or it could go the other way. I feel like I'm gonna go first on this one, and I'm throwing a little curveball in there. I think it's Pete Carroll showing up late to practice, and every day it's like, oh, you would not believe it. My tire popped, and then while it was popped, I saw an armadillo giving birth on the side of the road. Just had to help that beautiful creature bring the small ones into this earth, and then just every day it's some other crazy story from Pete Carroll on the way there. It's like a mix of like your grandfather's old stories that he has about like working at the knob factory mixed with like the millennial excuse making that you would expect maybe out of a younger coach.
And they're like, Pete, we don't have armadillos in Seattle.
It's like baby armadillos. They're really life's angels.
Yeah. What
No shell to protect it yet.
It's just,
that's where Pete
Papa,
comes in.
Papa Carroll had to be that baby shell. Why did I have like the most vivid image of him curling up into a shell over the armadillo?
Who's here?
Daddy's home. All right. Our most creative excuse maker, we got Pete Carroll. Coop, who you got?
So I'm going with Nate Burleson for this one. And specifically because I still don't believe his story about how he broke his arm. Like he told everybody that he broke his arm because he was driving his car, bringing home a pizza, and then he had to stop short and he was like protecting the pizza with his arm and broke his arm, or he got in like an accident or something. I don't think so, dude. I think that story 1000% made up, but it's so out there that it's hard not to believe. So I think Nate Burleson, if he can come up with a pizza saving story, he can come up with anything.
Nate Burleson, you came with real world examples. Not that mine wasn't real or based on real events, but
I just immediately thought I was like, what's the most ridiculous excuse that I've heard? There's a ton of them in baseball. There's so many baseball players that there's like a million of those. Like, I was practicing juggling knives in the shower, and that's how I got this cut on my finger, and I can't pitch today. Like, there's a million.
Switched wives with my best friend, and now he won't give me my wife back.
Hate when that happens.
Hate when that happens.
That was the most insane row,
For sure.
I kind of forgot about it until you just mentioned it.
Yeah.
What was it again? They swapped wives and then they wanted to swap back, but the one guy said no.
They swapped wives and with their children just staying with the wives, just full on switched. And then the best part was Matt Damon and Ben Affleck have the rights to that movie.
To the movie, that's right.
Right.
I saw a movie with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck that's coming out, like a trailer for it on TV yesterday. And so we have to think that they're going to work on this at some point, right?
What they really should have done is they should have put all the kids into a pool and then had a draft. I'll take Timmy.
They switch spouses and then draft the children.
And put the kids on and put the draft.
The 70s, baby.
Right? And then just like, I'll take Timmy. The other guy's like, oh man, I got sniped.
And the whole world's just like,
sorry, Tim.
If they're happy, Timmy. They're happy.
Right.
They're happy. Mike, we got Michael in the chat said Jameis Winston is probably the biggest class clown. Did we already mention that one?
We did, yeah.
And then he said Mike Williams with always the best excuses. I have another injury.
that is his normal excuse, though.
Ouch.
Usually there's documentation of him jumping like 7 feet in the air and landing directly on his neck. So
true.
He will do anything to catch that ball.
Yeah. Let a couple of those go.
Adam also in the chat saying Marshawn Lynch.
Oh,
that's a good one.
He's a good answer.
I thought about him.
He's a good answer for a lot of these.
He is.
Who you got for us, JL?
Who did Coop go with?
Nate Burleson.
Nate Burleson. That's right.
Pizza arm car.
Pizza arm. Burleson.
Pizza.
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with maybe another obvious one. I'm gonna go with Antonio Brown. Feels like that man could make an excuse for absolutely anything.
JL's correct. You found the right answer.
Yeah.
Definitely could have been class clown too.
Definitely could have been class clown, but I feel like this one's good. Most creative excuse maker. The whole helmet saga. It's like a whole bunch. There's so many examples. I could go on for hours.
What I'm realizing is more times than not, being the ist or the most of a thing is not necessarily a good thing. Like most of the things you can be a superlative at, you probably don't want to win that award.
Probably not.
No,
some of them though.
Yeah, but if Antonio Brown could win most of what we bring up, I'm not sure I want to win most of what we bring up.
We'll see. That vote is in the chat.
Like I said, how many times can I vote for AB? I'm with you. That is the correct answer here.
Yeah.
All right. Our next superlative, while that one is getting voted on in the YouTube chat, our next superlative is best problem solver.
Ooh.
Best problem solver. Coop, you're going first on this one. Who do you think this is? Who would you like to nominate for best problem solver?
The best problem solver. I would say that the best problem solver that I've ever seen in the NFL is Troy Polamalu. And that dude, I don't know what it was about him, but he just always knew exactly where to be and when to do it. I'm not sure. Did you guys ever see the Pat McAfee clip where he's talking about the time that he was supposed to score a touchdown in front of all his friends and family that he grew up with, but Polamalu ruined it? They had this play drawn up, and I encourage anyone to check McAfee's story because it's way funnier. But basically, they all the tape indicated that if they got into a certain situation, like 7-yard line, about to kick a field goal against the Steelers, they always lined up in this one formation where he would just be able to take the snap and walk into the end zone. And every single time they've lined up exactly the same way. And then finally they get in the field in that situation, and McAfee is like, goes in the huddle. He's like, I'm scoring a touchdown here. We're doing it. And they get out there, and for some reason, he's never done it before. Polamalu is standing in that one spot where McAfee's about to run it. And McAfee said that he stood up and he turned to everybody. He goes, "We are kicking it. He goes, just waves. He goes, it's off. Kick it." And then they kicked it. Yeah. So not to mention, like, this is one of the few guys that I've seen jump over the line to sack the quarterback. Like, he is the ultimate problem solver. If the problem is offense.
There are few cooler moves in the NFL than the perfectly timed jump over the line.
Every time I'm just like, God, that was sexy. Like,
That
I'm
is
just
the
like, that
coolest
is the sexiest.
Because you know
move.
if it doesn't work, it looks so stupid.
Yeah,
You look like such an idiot.
So high risk.
It's the closest any human has come to being a tiger. Like, he literally just
It's like,
I would almost be shocked if I did it. If I did it correctly, I would like land and just be like, "Oh my God, I did it!"
You're right.
And like not forget to tackle.
But just think how stupid you look if it's like on 2, like they go hut
That's
and
what
you're
I'm
just
saying,
like,
flop over the center.
Everyone's like, "What are you doing, dude?"
Like, what an idiot.
Yeah, Jail, you jump over before the snap, but then you wouldn't even make the tackle. You just be like lying on the ground, like trying to grab at his ankle. Like,
Come here.
Everyone's like, cut that out. No, only Polamalu could do that one right.
Polamalu for best problem solver. I like that one. Simon, you're up next.
Best problem solver. I'm going to go maybe a little bit of sleeper pick. I'm going to go David Montgomery here because it is unbelievable that he got 4 yards of carry behind that offensive line. It was a puzzle just weaving his way through it. And maybe sometimes he brute forced that puzzle. I'll just punch straight through the pieces. But what a problem that he encountered on every single carry this entire season. And he solved it pretty well.
Yeah. It's like looking into the Matrix. David Montgomery trying to find the holes in that line, you know?
All right, David Montgomery. I like that one, Simon. I'm gonna go with Doug Peterson, head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, because that dude inherited a whole lot of problems, but he's found a way to turn it around. I'm pretty hopeful. That team they're in the conversations for playoff teams, right? Like, I haven't heard anybody disparage them. I've heard people talk about them as if they're a playoff team going into this year. So that's pretty impressive to go from zero to that.
It's so funny to think about that. I never really thought about, like, just walking into a locker room that Urban Meyer was in before. Right. And the players are like explaining to Doug Peterson. They're like,
And then he did this, and then he did this.
That. Yeah, and they're like, they're just like, yeah. And if you're thirsty, you drink out of this puddle here. And they're like, hey, is that the way
this
they did
is
it?
Long snapper. Feel free to kick him.
Right. Yeah.
He's like, no, I don't want to kick you. He's like, no, please, I like it.
Oh yeah, you're the head ball coach. So you're allowed to kick whoever you want.
You're allowed. Yeah, those are the rules.
Which is an actual quote from Urban Meyer, which is amazing. I'm the head ball coach.
I'm the head ball coach.
Yeah, that he kicked.
Hear me roar.
He kicked their kicker and then said, "I'm the head ball coach," which is the most amazing.
Exception.
Yeah, amazing.
God,
threw up the deuces and walked out. Farted on his way out.
Can you imagine just being
smell you later?
That awful, like just being that big of a dick that you think you can just kick a grown man just doing his job.
Hey, when you're the head ball coach.
When you're the head ball coach, man.
Right. They see Doug
I hope
Peterson.
his balls are half as big as his ego.
You do?
Running around. No, I don't.
They see Doug Peterson on the plane after the game, and they're like, "What are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be at the bar?"
All
we
right,
got
that
two nominees,
vote is in
right?
the chat. Yeah, no, we got 3. We got Troy Polamalu, David Montgomery, and Doug Peterson for who is the best problem solver.
I saw Tim in the chat come in with a good one, saying Luke Kuechly was just stupidly good at figuring out plays.
That's true. Yeah,
Kuechly was a great one there.
He's on another level.
All right, do we have another superlative?
That's it. No, that's it.
That's it. That's the last superlative.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we will post those winners for you. Most likely to not know that's the end of the game. Me, I'm the winner. Well, guys, coming up, we got some more games heading your way. We're going to write in our diaries in a segment we call Dear Diarrhea. And we've got a Dynasty mock draft and a tight end premium league coming your way. And then we're going to answer some of Reddit's toughest questions. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
As a longtime baseball fan, here's my message to other baseball fans, to steal a line from the Packers' future Hall of Fame quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, RELAX. Everyone needs to relax after what we saw this past weekend as spring training games out in Arizona and down in Florida got going, and we're inching closer and closer to Major League Baseball opening day. The rule changes in Major League Baseball is not for myself. It's not for you out there, the hardened baseball fan, whether you're a fan 5, 10, 15, 30, or even 50 years from all around this great country. It's not for those that are going to be locked in. It's for trying to generate more fans. So if they want the pitcher to go out there and work in rhythm with a guy on base, begin the windup within 20 seconds, nobody on base, begin the windup within 15 seconds, or have the batter make sure that he's back in the batter's box within 8 seconds, then making the base pass first, second, and third bigger, eliminating the shift. All of this is to make the game better. We've seen leagues, whether it be the National Football League. Do you think it's the same league as it is today in 2023, or what we saw in 2022 as it was 30 years ago? No, it's not. Is NBA basketball the same? No. How many games do you see being played? 83-79 finals. You don't see that at all. So every league adjusts to try and bring what? More fans into the sport. And that is something that Major League Baseball is going out there and trying to do. I've been critical at times of Rob Manfred, whether or not as a MLB commissioner, whether he likes the sport based on some of the rhetoric that he has spewed in years gone by. But I got to be honest with you, as a longtime baseball fan, I've been a Yankee fan my entire life. Watched a ton of Met games here in the tri-state area. Watched baseball all around. Can't wait for October baseball. Think it's absolutely unbelievable what is transpiring now and what's happening now, and the rule changes being brought about baseball. It's going to bring back to the game to when I became a fan, where the stolen base was something, moving guys over was something, having men on base, batting averages ascending, not being an all or nothing league where either you're striking out or hitting the ball over the fence. And that is what baseball is trying to do. So as everybody tries to adjust, and change is difficult, whether you're changing your diet, exercise routine, changing your relationships, changing a job, change is different. I get that. And it's hard. But let's take a step back. Let's understand what Major League Baseball is trying to do here. And they're trying to repopulate or repopularize the sport. That's what they're trying to do. They're clearly the third most popular sport in the United States. They want to make it less regionalized. This is the way they need to go about doing it. I'm all for it. For more content like this, download the Better Sports Network app or go to bettersports.com.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Coop, I just purposefully suppressed a sneeze because it hit right as the intro was about to cut out. And God, do I feel uneasy. It's just like resting there in me. I've never really held it in on purpose before. That doesn't feel good.
You got to get that sneeze out, bro. You can't. You're going to be thinking about that sneeze.
It's stuck in there. We're going to get it out at some point.
Yeah,
but for now, it lives inside. I also saw Craig come in the chat letting us know for that whole Pete Carroll scenario, armadillos are a big carrier of leprosy. So Pete Carroll, I'm sure he's aware of that. He's probably wearing gloves, making sure he's safe while delivering those baby armadillos to the world. Right, JL?
Right.
Is leprosy still a thing that people still get?
I guess if armadillos carry it.
Be careful, all right?
Be careful around those armadillos, Pete. Well, guys, we're about to get into a segment here we're calling Dear Diarrhea. We're going to write segments into our diarrhea to let you guys know about things we've learned, some lessons that we're reflecting back on. We want to make sure that we don't forget. And I've got one today, if you guys don't mind me jumping in here.
Do it.
My first one's simple. I've got a couple, but it's just something I want to make sure I remember in the new year. Dear Diarrhea, don't forget about the other sports you love. It's real easy to get very lost in the NFL, especially when it's your job to follow it. I spend a lot of time covering it, and I'm not going to lie. By the end of the season, it can become a little bit of a grind. I love every second of watching football, but it's a lot of football. And with all of that time dedicated to it, I'm going to be honest, I fell out of college football this year. I didn't watch as much of it. I haven't been watching as much tennis as I used to. I'm not watching nearly as much college basketball. These tournament games were the first games I really watched this year. I need to make sure I'm making time for those other sports because, good God, am I having fun watching this March Madness tournament. It's making me wish I had a little bit more skin in the game. You know what I mean? That I had watched this team throughout the season and, I saw Kentucky win this game. I knew they were going to be good this year. Just having those moments of recognition throughout. So, Dear Diarrhea, don't forget about the other sports you love, because you love football so much.
That's a good one, Simon. I have also been having a similar realization, maybe not quite on the same scale, but certainly a similar revelation of just college football. I missed it, man. I missed it.
Yeah.
Baseball as well.
I'm getting in there with, I'm making sure to start baseball off on the right track this year from the beginning, right? Because I had the same thing happen with hockey and basketball. Right when the NFL season ended, I kind of turned around and I was like, damn, Celtics and Bruins are pretty good. Started watching a couple games, went to a Bruins game. And now I feel like I had to jump on the bandwagon. I got in there before playoffs started, so I'm in there. I'm safe. But it would have been nice to have been there the whole way. You know what I mean? And to be like, you know what? I was there from the very start, which I can't claim that this year. I jumped in right towards the end of football and they were already first place in their respective leagues. But there's a whole wide world of sports out there.
There is.
Dustin here saying I love putting hockey on while I write at night. And that's something I've been trying to do
right to sleep
during the day, is just even before this tournament. JL with the hockey shot. Just going to the ESPN app and throwing some sport on in the background. There's always something on. You can throw on the college softball championships. You can throw on cricket. You can throw on highlight. You can throw on, I don't know. There's something on all the time. Just put it on in the background. Yeah. Sport noises are good noises to work to.
I've been trying to understand cricket. I've read the rules 100 times. I just can't quite figure it out. But I will say this: some of the highlights from cricket are electric. The one-handed catches are amazing, but also, do you guys know the rule with the back line in cricket? Have you ever seen any of those plays? Mm-hmm. So it would be like baseball, except for instead of a wall, you just have a line on the ground. and you can go outside the line and come back as long as you don't have the ball in your hands. So there's a bunch of clips of guys like running and making crazy one-handed grabs, but then realizing they're about to walk over the line. So they throw the ball up in the air and they go outside the line, and then they run back in and catch the ball inside. So it's like this crazy juggling move, or they like catch it and they try and throw it to their other teammate. As long as it doesn't hit the ground, it counts as a catch. So it makes for like magic highlights.
So like the basketball trying to keep the ball in play, but on steroids, like jacked up to 1,000 because you're outside and it's a cricket ball.
Exactly. And if the ball hits the ground, it's the end of the world. In basketball, if the ball hits the ground, you're just dribbling. But in this, if the ball hits the ground,
if the ball hits the ground, good job. Do it again and again and again and again and again.
In cricket, if the ball
stop doing it.
In cricket, it's basically if the ball hits the ground, you lose. If you step over that line, it's basically the equivalent of like you like in baseball. If like you jump over the wall with the ball, it's a home run. So the stakes are high out there at the end line.
If you jump over the wall with the ball, it's a home run.
Why
would you do that?
In Major League Baseball, I've seen it. Guys that jump up and catch the ball, but they're at the wall, so they fall out. It's a home run. It's not an out.
They fall out into the stands?
If you fall over the fence with the ball, it's a home run.
Dang. I've never seen. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I've just never seen that happen in MLB. That's cool.
I feel like I have. Maybe it's never fully happened. I mean, I've seen people's like their
because walls are pretty tall.
Yeah, especially you're telling me I'm a Red Sox fan.
He goes, I know about tall walls, Jay.
Tell you, have you heard of our thing?
Fun fact. You want your an additional?
I watched Fever Pitch.
Tell us how tall your wall is.
I know all the fun facts.
Tell us how tall your wall is.
Ooh, so are you ready for this? I'm not going to talk about the tall wall, or I guess I will briefly.
The thick wall.
The Red Sox have the tallest wall in the league, but they also
I don't like the way you're cocking your head.
They also have the shortest wall. The right field wall, right over by the right field pole that is known as Pesky Pole, named after Joe Pesky. The wall that's right there is only 3 feet tall. So it's actually, they have the tallest wall in left field, and the wall in right field is the shortest wall in the league.
That's just begging to tabletop an outfielder.
Oh, yeah.
Backing up running into the stands. The exact situation we just talked about. 3 feet is the perfect height to just knock them at their tushy as they go backwards into the stands catching it.
Ow.
Oh.
Oh.
Me bum.
All right, Simon, I like yours. Don't forget about other sports. I got one to add.
Well.
JL, Dear Diarrhea. Don't join Dynasty Leagues unless you know the people are committed. Because I had a Dynasty League fold this year, right after I won. And man, is it annoying. When you make all these moves, making your team good, and then people are like, yeah, I quit. So I'm not joining Dynasty Leagues where I get the vibe that people aren't in it anymore. I got to know you're committed.
Yeah, I think that's the most important part of a Dynasty League is selecting the right people, to be honest. And sometimes a lot of times what happens is you're in such a rush to just start the league that you're like, oh, ask your cousin or ask whoever. And then you get this league full of people that aren't paying on time.
Everyone's always in so like the biggest rush to start a league.
Like
we need to do it by Monday.
My best Dynasty leagues were like handcrafted. They were either people that I knew well from like school or whatever, or they were just like painstakingly handcrafted with people that are going to pay on time. They're going to be available for the draft. That they're going to engage with trades, which is like, so that's even worse. I'd rather have a league fold than just a league where everyone's just going through the motions and no one's doing anything. So yeah, that's the most important part of the Dynasty League is making sure you get the rules right and making sure you get the people right before you start it.
Jill, that was a very nice way of putting that. I feel like that was a very positive way to spin that. You put a lot of the responsibility on yourself in that situation. You didn't blame others, where my dear diarrhea of that same tone would have been very accusatory of others and their league creating habits. It wouldn't have been on me not to join. It would have been stop creating Dynasty Leagues in the off season. Not every league you create needs to be a Dynasty League. Bring back the joy of redraft. Know what I mean? I honestly think a redraft league should be a little bit like dating before you make your Dynasty League. Like a Dynasty League is like marriage, baby. Get a solid group of 10 to 12 people and run a successful redraft league for 3 seasons. all the owners stay the same, everyone's engaged, everyone's in, then ask them if they're interested in making a dynasty. Stop just like going in and willy-nilly first try making a dynasty league. It's like married at first sight.
Yeah, you can almost have like a farm league of you got a bunch of redraft leagues that you just use to farm good managers.
Exactly. Perfect. At least 90-day fiance it. Know what I mean? Like give it a season.
So if you've been in a redraft league with Simon and he hasn't invited you to a dynasty league, just know that
it's you, not him.
Just know that you've been rejected. Yeah.
We had a lot of great candidates. It was not you. There's just so many slots available.
I know this is a topic that Scott Fish is also very, very passionate about. He gets pretty worked up if somebody commits and then decommits.
And I love a dynasty league. I love dynasty, but you just got to have a couple. And it's got to be a tight group, a group that's committed.
And I'm fine with people like decommitting if they need to. Things change, life happens. I get that. It's more so when it's like you can tell when it's about the system, right? Like one person leaves, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, "Should we even continue?" And it's like, "All right, maybe we should reevaluate things here, guys."
You're real saying a D league, eh?
We have that for our hometown league, redraft league. We have the lag, which is our big league, and then we had enough people that wanted to be part of it that we have the D league. The D league is one of the most wild leagues that I've ever been a part of. I'm not even in it anymore. I gave my spot to another friend of ours, but that league is nonsense. April knows what I'm talking about. But anyway, I got my Dear Diary entry. This is an important one for me, and I think it's going to be huge for a lot of people this season. I mean, it is every season. And I just tweeted the other day about Michael Thomas, and I got a lot of interesting responses back. People saying like that he's not going to be good, that he's going to be awful. And I found myself asking why. I said, why isn't he going to be good? And the responses I often got were, well, he's going to, joke answers. He's only going to play 3 games. Okay. What injury are you predicting? Not one single person got back to me with a legitimate answer to that question. I said, what injury is he going to have? Right? Like he had toe surgery, but reports are that it wasn't even his big toe, it was his second toe. Reports are right. Like reports are that
it wasn't even his big toe.
Wasn't even his big toe, you dummies. Yeah, because people were like, oh yeah, big toe. No, it wasn't. It was the second one. It was his long toe. So
is that the name of it?
That's what it's called now. His index toe. I'm not sure what
your
it's called.
Pointer toe.
Pointer toe. Yeah, it's your
disgusting.
It's your
line that you point with it.
It's your soup. It's your soup stirring toe.
Oh.
So yeah, he has a surgically repaired soup toe, and that to me is an indication. When I start asking why and nobody has a reason, that's an indication that that guy's a value. Besides, oh, he's going to get hurt again. Oh, he burned me before. Probably the easiest way to find bounce back candidates, go on Twitter and just type burned me before, and then find whatever player that is, know that you're probably going to get a value on him, because we've seen it time and time again. Oh, Dalvin Cook gets hurt, so we're going to fade him. Then he doesn't get hurt. Funny how sometimes you just don't suffer a major injury. Joe Mixon, oh, he's going to get hurt every year. Doesn't get hurt. He's like RB4. This past season, I had people telling me I can't draft Christian McCaffrey at 1 because he's going to get hurt again. Oh yeah? What injury is he going to suffer? Maybe you should tell him. Maybe you should warn him that he's about to be badly injured. Like maybe you should tell the Saints that Michael Thomas is going to get hurt, and maybe they won't pay him $10 million like they just agreed to do. Right? Saquon Barkley last year, same thing. Why did he go in the second round? Because he got hurt the year before? Is that why? So for me, I look at injuries and these type of situations. It's the exact situation where you can get a value. If someone is saying, oh, he's just going to get hurt, what are you, Dr. Fortune Teller? There's what exactly, like, you know what I mean? Like that's the simplest way to do it. Just say, hey, what injury are you predicting? No one ever has
the same one that they had. That's what they always say.
They always say, yeah, the ankle he hurt 3 years ago, right? His soup toe. Like if he's healthy in August, don't fade him. That goes for everybody. If he's injured in August, fade him.
Yeah.
Right. He's actually hurt. But if he's not hurt, you're playing the guessing game. This guy came out, he had 3 touchdowns in 3 games last year. He was on pace for 90 receptions, which would have tied DK Metcalf for top 10. If he doesn't get hurt, he just might be Michael Thomas. And Michael Thomas is awesome.
Keith in the chat said, searched burn me before on Twitter. Coop's tweet pops up with basically the same idea.
I this one I've entered in my diary very recently. Right?
Got that out there. Coop's Twitter is his diary. No, I like that one. And it makes sense. I do like the caveat that you added. If they're injured in August, if we get to August and we're getting reports, oh, his soup toe's acting up. He doesn't look the same as he did before his soup toe injury. Soup toe might hold him back. Then fade the heck out of him. Because how many times have we seen the should be ready by game 1, should be ready by preseason, and then it's week 4, 5, or we get the Chris Godwin special, come out for 2 plays and then back out for another 4 weeks. Like we see that all the time. So I love the advice and I love the caveat that, hey, but if they're actively injured,
if they're actually injured, fine. If they're actually hurt, then that's different. And that mistake we've made a million times as well, of which you draft Michael Thomas while he's hurt and say, oh, I'm getting a discount because
I would never, and I'm being honest, I'm lying. I did that.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't. We've all done it, dude. But it's like, if he is hurt, then fade him. But if he's healthy, don't play the guessing game. Just take the good players.
Yeah, it's the whole injury-prone argument, which I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like people, like, as soon as we start talking about injuries in fantasy football, people forget how injuries work in real life. Like, they've never had an injury before, and they can't figure it out that, like, hey, sometimes things linger, sometimes things don't.
I broke my nose once, but they still let me into Yankee Candle.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about my nose every time now.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's a totally different injury he had last year, and it was surgically repaired. It's like, are you predicting another toe? I don't know. Just enough. Enough is enough. Okay.
We've been able to predict a lot of the bounce backs based off of that premise alone. Tua was one where last season, towards the end of last season, I was mentioning how it felt like his injuries just really lined up at inconvenient times to make it seem like he's been out for a protracted amount of time. Who's the other one that I was thinking of?
Davy Jones.
Oh, Saquon Barkley. Well, we brought him up. The Saquon Barkley one, whereas like his injury was entirely separate. It was his ankle injury was different than the torn ACL the year before.
And as for Tua, like, you can say that, the concussions, like
TMC too,
it could go one way. But here's the thing: there's been a bunch of guys that had concussion issues that we said the same thing about early in their career, and now we don't even talk about it. Like Brandin Cooks just signed another contract for a long time. People forget that Devontae Adams had like 3 concussions all in a row, and people were saying, like, should Devontae Adams just hang it up? And this was so long ago that most people don't even remember that Devontae Adams had that period where people were just like, you know what, one more and he's done. Well, turns out that he's not done. He's going to play for a long time. So, when it comes to that stuff, sometimes people do suffer career-ending injuries, but sometimes they get hurt and they come back and they play. Frank Gore tore both his ACLs in college, and they said that's why he slid in the draft. They said he wasn't going to be able to play for a long time. How'd that go?
Yeah, he made it a while.
He's still an athlete. He's still boxing people. Like Frank Gore is forever.
You would have to pay me so much money to get my ass beat by Frank Gore in a boxing ring. It would not be a match, very clearly. There's no fight going on there. It would just be a beat down. Yeah. It would just be him beating me up.
He wouldn't even need to throw punches, dude. I would punch him like twice in the head, and like I'd be like, my wrist.
Quit. I'm out.
He literally would not even need to throw any punches.
Okay, you win.
I'd just be tired, dude. Yeah. Like, my hands hurt.
Joey Wright in the chat said Devontae Adams should not hang it up.
No.
Hot take, Joey. Hot take. I like that dear diarrhea. It's sweet. It's genuine. It was impassioned. You took out some feelings on your diarrhea a little bit. There was some anger, some love. It's everything you need in an entry like that.
Yeah. Well, the anger was mostly because I just argued with 700 people on Twitter about it 2 days ago. So I've been doing a lot of thinking about it.
And by thinking, I mean endless tweeting, angry tweeting until 3 a.m. Well, I have one more for you guys if you're ready for it. If you'll allow me to throw one more entry out there.
Please.
Dear Diarrhea, pay attention to the players behind the big name free agents before free agency happens. The window is closed once the trades are done. I'm thinking of names like Khalil Herbert, whose value is already higher now, and Dustin's been screaming his praises for a year, right? In that time period, the season ends and you think, oh, I'll just wait. Like, we got a little bit of a break. Start making those trades. Look at the players that are going to be leaving their teams. Look at the situations they're leaving behind and make your moves ahead of time. Predict. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but you're paying a suppressed value on something that could immediately change their situation. I mean, like, Coop, we're waiting to see if Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy gets traded, right? If one of those players is gone. Right now's the time to go trade for Greg Dulcich.
Do it.
Like, you should go get Greg Dulcich onto your dynasty teams right now.
Dude, I was trying to send you a trade offer with Greg Dulcich in it this weekend. I couldn't, for whatever reason, I couldn't come up with one.
You're not going to get it from Simon. Or do you have? No,
I was going to trade him Greg Dulcich because I have Andrews, Kyle Pitts, and Dulcich in a dynasty league.
That's pretty good.
So I know he likes Dulcich.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, maybe I can move Dulcich.
It's cool that you drafted Dulcich where you did.
Yeah, with those guys, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Or what you could do, JL?
That's how you play the game, baby.
JL, you know what you could do is just
What?
keep those three guys and then never have to think about tight end again.
That's
Yeah, in a dynasty league like
you're pretty set, dude. I mean, actually, with just Andrews and Pitts,
do you play both those guys every week?
I
mean, Pitts, I guess you could sit.
Yeah.
But if he is what we think he is, by the time he's good,
he's already
maybe
good.
Mark Andrews will be bad.
He had 1,000-yard season already.
And then we're looking at like my tight end roster with like CJ Uzama, Noah Gray, and Anthony Ferkser is the highlight of it.
So I'm saying we can make a trade, Simon.
I'll trade you all three of those guys for Greg Dulcich.
To your diary entry, Simon, that's why I do the offseason series that I did. 32 articles on all 32 teams. I started the day after the Super Bowl, February 12th. Free agency opened March 13th. So literally less than 30 days. We got every single team out there. I'm not sure. Nobody probably read all of them because that's 80,000 words. That's literally like a Twilight.
Monty Coop read them all.
Monty Coop might have read them all. It's literally like reading a Twilight book, reading every single one. But like that's how you get in that mindset of like, which direction are these teams going? What's going to happen, right? If DeAndre Hopkins is going to get traded, then go get Marquise Brown because he's going to get peppered with targets. Like Simon, it's such a great point, and we forget about it. And that's why I'm sitting here yelling at everybody. I'm like, everyone's like talking about rookies. I'm like, the NFL draft isn't for over a month still, right? Like we still have so much time. I can ignore them this whole time and then make my rankings on the Sunday of the NFL draft, right? The first 3 rounds are Thursday and Friday. You can make your rankings that Saturday and you'll be in the same spot that everybody else is that spent all this time like watching film and doing whatever. You can just like all that information will still be available. Their college production is going to be available 1 month from now. Their combine is going to be available 1 month from now. What you can't do is what Simon just talked about. You can't go back and trade Chase Claypool before they go out and get DJ Moore, right? Like that's over now. So the time you got to do things in the correct order here. Free agency.
Can't time travel.
You can't time travel, unfortunately. Be sick if you could.
Come on.
All right, one time, but that's it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Ooh, we did it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so do things in the right order. And then now that we get through free agency, now you can start looking at rookies. You have my permission to do so.
Thank you.
And you have my permission to time travel, but only one time.
Only one time a piece. Ooh, that's tricky because then you can't come back.
That's true.
You're just going one way.
You got to kill your former self.
And I guess if you get any of the functions, you could use pause, fast forward, rewind. Those are the options.
Eject.
Your remote just has an eject button on it.
What the heck? Nobody explains it.
Your skeleton pops straight out of your head, just fully up.
Oh. Shoot. Didn't know it was going to do that.
Not again.
Not again.
Not again. Well, do we have any more diarrhea entries?
That's it.
That's it for us today, guys. We're going to close that book today. Shut that.
You have a book?
Yeah, Jalen has a book. Nerd. And Eve Lanier says, where we're going, we don't need roads. Indeed, we don't. Well, coming up, we've got a Dynasty mock draft, tight end premium, baby. And then we're going to answer some of Reddit's questions and read some of the first ever NFL trivia book live on air. Welcome to FYF Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Monday Night Rants with Edward Rouse on Better Sports Network.
Do you believe in the Madden curse? Do you think that's a real thing?
I did. Now, I don't think it's as big of a deal anymore, but it was a real thing for a solid 10, 15 years.
Yeah, it was Sean Alexander, LaDainian Tomlinson, Peyton Hillis.
LT was never on the cover. I know that.
Was he not? I thought he was one. Okay, well, you do know all the covers of everything.
Yeah, okay. So if you want, I could do this real quick. So Garrison Hurst is the first official Madden cover athlete, 1999. 2000, I believe they still put John Madden on the cover. And then 2001 is where it all started. So 2001, you have Eddie George. 2002, Dante Culpepper. 2003, Marshall Falk. 04, Michael Vick. 05, Ray Lewis, first defensive player on the cover.
Okay.
06, Donovan McNabb. 07, Sean Alexander.
Okay.
08, Vince Young. 09, Brett Favre.
Okay.
10 is a trick one because it's
no way you know.
And Larry Fitzgerald. 11, Drew Brees. 12, Peyton Hillis. 13, Calvin Johnson, I believe so.
You're right.
14.
No way you know all this.
14, also a trick question. I believe that's the Madden 25 cover, and it's Barry Sanders, unless you got it for the new consoles, in which case Adrian Peterson
was
on the cover.
You're not cheating. You're not looking at.
Swear on my life. Swear on my life.
Okay. Keep on going.
15, you have Richard Sherman.
Okay.
16. Hold on. 16 is Odell Beckham.
Okay.
16. 17. Now this is the one I get mixed up because 17 and 18 are back-to-back Patriots.
They are.
17, I think, is Gronk, and 18 is Brady.
You are correct.
19 is Antonio Brown.
Correct.
20, Patrick Mahomes.
Oh my goodness.
21, Lamar Jackson. 22, Brady Mahomes. 23, John Madden. But yeah, dude, I'm a cover nerd when it comes to this stuff.
We now know, but that was really impressive. I don't know how.
Thank you.
That's literally 29 of them or something like that. Wow, that is. You did not miss a single one, and you even got the special editions where they had 2 people on the covers.
Monday Night Rants on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We're about to get into a Dynasty startup mock draft here, but this time it is tight end premium, baby, which means if you've never played in the tight end premium league, you know how PPR works. Players get an extra point per reception. That's usually just boosted up for tight ends. It can go as high as a full extra point, but the most common is an extra half point per reception. So all of their players will get 1 point per reception. Tight ends get 1.5 just to make them a little bit more valuable, the scoring a little closer to that of wide receivers. Or Travis Kelce, a little bit above other wide receivers. You guys ready to get into this?
Before we start, I just want to know, how do you guys feel about this format? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you think it's necessary?
So,
tight end premium?
Yeah.
The only thing it really changes for me is the flex strategy, because the tight end position is still, it's like super flex. The value gets bumped up pretty much linearly for a lot of these tight ends. Like everyone still has to play one, and there's still the same level of scarcity. What it does is it maybe moves that second tier up to like flex worthy consideration. Like maybe now I'm flexing a Dallas Goedert, so it's fine drafting 2 tight ends.
I don't know that it changes a lot for me in terms of like whether I like it or not, because I don't think it really changes the position. Like Simon said, I think it just creates a bigger disparity. So it slightly changes strategy, but not enough to really distinguish it from one of the bigger changes that like PPR.
Yeah. I do have some concern that like Travis Kelce, we might have only seen the tip of the iceberg onto what the future could hold at this position. Like, if you do go tight end premium, what happens if Kyle Pitts does just play wide receiver and he has a season like the top wide receivers that we've seen? Like, what if he goes out and has 1,600 yards and 12 touchdowns? Now all of a sudden, that player is so much more valuable than everybody else. Like, what if they trade Cortland Sutton and Greg Dulcich just plays wide receiver? Like, there's a possibility that that you have Justin Jefferson and Kyle Pitts having the same stats, but Kyle Pitts are worth in some formats double. That's what I do worry about a little bit. But again, that'll just be part of the format if it happens, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we see it. Formats get broken. Rushing yards kind of break QB sometimes. There may be game-breaking tight ends. We've seen tight ends be broken before. Taysom Hill coming out and throwing touchdowns has broken the position, not consistently, but it definitely adds another dimension. It is fun having leagues like this because it changes the names that you're talking about as fantasy relevant. And it changes the draft a little bit too. Now we're talking about some of these tight ends and we're comparing them against the top tier running backs and wide receivers in these drafts instead of a couple rounds back. Do I take my fourth wide receiver or do I take my tight end?
Exactly. Yeah. So, I don't think it's like the end of the world. I have a little bit of concern with that. And in my opinion, the tight end position, it's fine. Like it's not like if you don't have tight end premium, it ruins it. Like you can get away with it.
We got Mrs. Scampers in here saying, have you seen my rapscallion husband around lately?
Mrs. Scampers.
Where's that?
I haven't seen him, ma'am. Hasn't been in here yet today. It's been at least since Friday.
That little chat.
We would definitely not hide him if he asked us to.
He was out of town for a very important business meeting, if I remember correctly, over the weekend. He was going to make a lot of responsible business money at a conference.
Business money, yeah.
Yeah.
Very business-like. Indeed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry too much. He'll be home soon, probably.
That's definitely not something Nate Burleson told us to say.
No, not without it. Not at all.
Not at all. Last we saw him, he was delivering a pizza and then he stopped short and that's how he hurt his arm.
Are you guys ready to get into our draft?
No. Joey's joining us for our draft.
Joey's joining us for the draft. And we can determine the draft order while we were waiting for our friend Joey. I'm going to randomize it. JL, you are going first overall. And then because of the alphabet and how it works, we're going to put Joey next. And then we're going to continue going in alphabetical order, but starting with J, which means Simon comes after that, which then would make Coop fourth in this list because we start back over. It wraps back around. C is last in the alphabet if it starts with J.
So this is kind of like in poker where you have a straight, but the ace counts as a 1 instead of
exactly.
A. Okay.
Yep, it wraps back around.
I think that's fair.
Also, Mrs. Scampers in the chat saying, forgetting Joey, typical Simon.
Unbelievable.
Typical Simon.
Classic.
I don't think it's Simon's fault.
I am curious to see how these tight ends are ordered. Coop, whenever it comes to tight ends, how do you factor age into account in drafts like this? Because I think it is different than other positions. Just that these players often peak a little bit later and the careers seem to run a little bit longer. Is it the same level? Like they hit a 28 and you start getting worried?
No, so they do last a little bit longer, right? Like the tight ends, the age apex is a little bit higher, just like wide receiver. But honestly, even a little longer. Like you look at guys like Kelce, Ertz, like they're still rocking at 33, 32. So I look at it more in terms of what we always talk about, the sort system, start opportunity, roster talent. If I can get guys that are both talented and a top target on their team, those guys will go first. After that, I have to look at A, what direction I'm going, like if I'm trying to win now or not, and then B, I have to look at what I already have. So if I draft my first tight end and I draft Mark Andrews, let's say, he's at the age apex and he's very good. With my other tight ends that I'm going to fill out my depth chart with, I don't want other like middle of the road tight ends. What do I need Evan Engram for if I have Mark Andrews? What I want to go with if I have Mark Andrews is I want to go with high risk, high reward guys and fill my bench with other guys where I might be able to catch lightning in a bottle. So it's kind of the who I take first at tight end determines how I fill the rest of my room out.
There we go. Well, we just filled the rest of our room out with a little bit of sexy Joey Wright joining the show. What's up, Joey?
Hey, how's it going? Good morning. Good Monday to all.
Good morning day.
Good morning day.
Got my coffee.
We're gonna get into this draft, Joey, and you've got the second overall pick.
I do.
Here. Dale's gonna go first, but you're going second in this. We're gonna do 2 rounds of this Dynasty tight end premium mock draft to kick us off bright and early on Monday morning. Yeah, 1 quarterback tight end premium.
Thank you.
That's how we're gonna get this going. And Joey, I'm sorry I forgot you were going to be in this draft. Mrs. Scampers called it out. I just had to apologize to you in person.
It's okay. No, I was here with the lights on my face, waiting for my moment, and my moment has arrived, and I am here.
The lights are shining. Nothing's going to knock you down. And Mrs. Scampers saying that bear on Joey's hat is scary.
This bear on my hat is amazing. This is a what is it, a clearance hat find at the Las Vegas airport, and it's like now my favorite hat.
Ooh.
It's so comfy. And nobody else has this hat.
Let us get another close up on that hat. That's a cool hat.
Terrifying.
And I'll let the chat try to figure out where this hat is from. I'll give you a hint. It's from a university.
Oh, I was going to say the clearance bin at the Las Vegas airport.
Yeah, no.
Well, John Luke, you've got the first overall pick here. Are you going to kick us off with a tight end in this tight end premium? The tight end premium mock draft, or you go in a different direction?
I'm going a different direction. I'm going Jamar Chase with the first pick.
I love that pick. Tell us a little bit about
Chase, first overall over Justin Jefferson. I know Coop's on the Jamar Chase over Jefferson side. You're leaning that way as well?
I could go either way. They are interchangeable for me. How I feel about either one of them depends on the day. Over Kyle Pitts, certainly. I would much rather have the dominant young wide receiver than the dominant young tight end, even in tight end premium.
Makes sense. Well, Joey, with Jamar Chase off the board, you're up with that second overall pick.
For anybody, can I just say one quick thing on that pick is that the reason I have Jamar Chase ahead is pretty simple. I think both are incredibly talented. If this were redraft, I might take Justin Jefferson. But in Dynasty, just knowing that Joe Burrow is young, he's going to sign that extension. Jamar Chase is a first-round pick. They can pick up his 5th-year option, and he's probably going to sign an extension too. That little bit of safety of having Chase with Burrow versus Justin Jefferson with Kirk Cousins, and then who knows, puts Chase ahead for me for Dynasty purposes.
Makes sense.
Greek yogurt,
not the same level of safety as Burrow. Well, Joey, who are you grabbing here with pick number 2?
Yeah, I agree with everything Jalen Coop said, but I'll just take the consolation prize in Justin Jefferson.
Pretty easy pick.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy pick. Adam Thielen's not there anymore. He was top 5 in red zone targets. I mean, Justin Jefferson is. You know what you're getting. Premier wide receiver for the next, probably 10 years.
Stud.
Let's go.
Yeah, it makes sense. And that puts me on the clock. Joey, that consolation prize isn't bad because your consolation prize is near majority of the industry's number 1 overall player in Dynasty.
Can I give a little tip about Justin Jefferson in Dynasty?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, please.
These second-round picks in Dynasty are worth something. I got Justin Jefferson in a Superflex league in the middle of the second round the year that he was in the draft, because he wasn't going very early in drafts that year. So, look into your players that are coming into the league this year. There might be another Justin Jefferson out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think we forget, but like Jalen Reagor was clearly ahead of Justin Jefferson.
Absolutely.
Right? Like clearly ahead of Justin Jefferson in drafts that year. But look where we are now.
Now they're on the same team.
Now they're on the same team. Well, this puts me on the clock, and I feel like there's a tier break after those 2 players whenever it comes to where I'm going to draft. I am going to stick at the same position, though, and I'm going to go with CeeDee Lamb here. It is still a little bit too early for me to grab the tight ends. I feel like there's a little bit of uncertainty with what I view as the number 1 tight end in tight end premium Dynasty, so I don't feel comfortable taking him over a hyper young, hyper talented player like CeeDee Lamb. Which means, Coop, you're on the clock. 3 wide receivers off the board to kick us off.
Yeah, you would think. So I'm actually going to just take the last wide receiver from this tier rather than taking a tight end either or running back. There's a lot of directions you can go, but personally, I put A.J. Brown in that same group. Tied to a young quarterback. He's only 25 years old. So the age apex for wide receivers is like 26 to 29 years old. And the true greats, they have great seasons at 30, 31, 32. Jerry Rice's best season ever, and the second best season all time, he was 32 years old. The best season all time was Cooper Kupp at like 28. And then if you look at that list of like best seasons ever, like the top 5, Randy Moss is on that list at 30 years old. Marvin Harrison is on that list at 30 years old. Like Wes Welker has his best season at 30 years old. Brandon Marshall has best season at 31 years old. I've looked at this very recently, as you can tell. So there's a bunch of guys that, like, if you are truly great, then that age apex for you could go until you're 32, 33, right? But with AJ Brown, I know at 25, I'm getting 26, 27, 28, 29. Give me that locked in with Jalen Hurts right now, and I'll figure out tight end later.
Makes sense. Well, the draft started 4 wide receivers off the board with the first 4 picks. And Jalen, it's back to you. Only wide receivers taken so far. Where are you rolling here? Pick number 5.
I'm gonna break the seal. I'm gonna go tight end. I'm gonna go Kyle Pitts. It's about time. Yeah, we go Kyle Pitts here at the 5th pick. I didn't think that he'd fall back to me, but man, when I factor in lifetime value for this guy, it's hard to put many of the remaining players above him.
How old is Kyle Pitts? 22?
22 years old.
I think so, yeah. Just absurd.
And I'll tell you that, like, with most tight ends, as you alluded to, they don't actually hit their prime till later. Travis Kelce didn't have a 1,000-yard season until he was 27 years old. That's how old Mike Gesicki is right now. Zach Ertz didn't have a 1,000-yard season until he was 28, right? Dallas Goedert's never had one. Delaney Walker didn't have one until he was 30. Kyle Pitts had one at 21 years old. Like, Kyle Pitts, and they're gearing up to have him play wide receiver. They just brought in Jonnu Smith to play inline tight end. They brought back Parker Hesse. This guy, like, there's a very real chance that this time next year, Kyle Pitts in this format is the unanimous 1 overall pick.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. Well, Kyle Pitts off the board with pick number 5, which means, Joey, you're on the clock with pick 6. Where are you going?
I kind of want to get cute here, but for the sake of the integrity of the show, I'm not going to get cute. I'll just go Breece Hall here. He's my number 1 running back in Dynasty. I know that's a hot take because a lot of people still have Jonathan Taylor, but what I saw of Breece Hall, even with the injury last year, it has me as my number 1 running back, and I'll take him here.
Now, do you guys agree with Breece Hall as the number 1 overall running back, or do you still have JT or someone else up there?
It's close at the top right now, but I have Breece Hall there, assuming that, you know.
Oh, okay.
No, I do have Breece Hall there.
It makes me feel good.
He looks so good, and also, like, if you had asked me this 2 months ago, I probably would not have said Breece Hall. But since then, I've seen him on a treadmill. I've seen clips of him running around. Like, this is looking like it's going to be a modern ACL injury, which in today's age, if you just have an ACL tear and no other nerve damage or ligament damage, and they take care of it properly, then you come back and you look really good. I mean, we've seen it time and time again where when it's just the ACL, it's not so bad. When it's compounded with other injuries, then it's scary. But for Breece Hall, knock on wood, it's looking pretty good right now.
I think the last time we did the 1 QB mock drafts, I took Breece Hall as the one, and it was like the first time I had made that decision in my mind, and it felt good. Yeah. It felt good. So I'm right there with you, Joey. I'm putting him above Jonathan Taylor.
I'm also a little more excited about the offense that Breece Hall is going to be playing in, and not even if Aaron Rodgers comes. Of course, if Aaron Rodgers comes, I'm a little more excited. But I mean, they're building something really interesting in New York.
No question.
Give me Joe Flacco. Give me Joe Flacco. Give me Joe Flacco. A full season of it. I want gunslinging 60 pass a game Joe Flacco for 17 games.
I shut Huck and Chuck.
Master.
Yeah, that's all I want. I want him to get reverse LASIK, Casal, and then just chuck the ball all over the field.
Just one eye open. He really was. He did his QB. He was like 31st in QBR at that point. Just literally just throwing.
And they said, "What do we do? Let's throw it 10 more times the next game."
Yeah.
Breece Hall off the
puck
board
on me
with pick number 6, which puts me on the clock with pick number 7. And I think this is where I grab another relatively young tight end. I'm going to go Mark Andrews here with the 2nd tight end off the board in the 1st round. It is a little bit early, but I look at some of the other running backs. They are aging. The next set of wide receivers, there's a little bit of uncertainty. I could take Jalen Waddle, who's fantastic, but he's the 2 on his team right now. I could take Amon-Ra St. Brown, but they've got Williams coming in. I could take, I'm going to stop naming names here that could go next because that's the number 1 rule in drafts, and I'm being a loser right here. But I think in a tight end premium league, it's appropriate to take another young superstar tight end with pick 7. He's in a tier with those wide receivers, and now this guides the direction of this team.
It's good
Guys,
pick.
and the thing with Mark Andrews is that in this format, he is the single safest pick you could possibly make. He's 27 years old. He's been the top target on that team. They didn't really add anybody in free agency, but they did get rid of their run-heavy offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, and bring in Todd Monken, who runs the air raid. So we know that they're going to be throwing a little bit more than they were before. And it's tight end premium. So Mark Andrews is about as safe as you can get, in my opinion.
I like the Mark Andrews pick. I think there's more risk than we're letting on, though. With Lamar potentially on that team or like sitting out or not on the team and Monken coming in, I think we could see a shift in Mark Andrews' usage than what we've seen in the past. And right now, him at the really top of the value here, I get a little worried. I start to get a little bit hesitant. Like a lot of things are changing, and I'm worried to assume that all that's going to stay constant.
I was going to say, I guess the two things you guys are saying, they work in conjunction. Coop, like there is all this upside with these changes that are coming in. There's serious upside if this Ravens offense changes in the way we think it is and Mark Andrews stays the focal point. Like, holy cow, it could unlock him. But that being said, it's not a guarantee. We've seen changes happen in the NFL before where we think it's going to roll one way. Uncertainty should have an impact on value because there is uncertainty when things change.
Well, if Lamar sits and we get Huntley, Mark Andrews will be even better. So
right. I've been looking at the that offense that Todd Monken runs, and basically it's like the risk would be that he used 2 tight ends at Georgia. He used an inline tight end, and then he used another tight end that basically just ran a ton of routes from the slot. So Darnell Washington was actually the inline tight end. Brock Bowers was the slot tight end. So there is a world where maybe they do have Mark Andrews in line with Isaiah Likely playing the slot. But, I personally, if I was going to be the guy running that offense, I would have Mark Andrews in the slot. Brock Bowers played more snaps at wide receiver than he did at inline tight end. So he was basically just a tight end. Brock Bowers is basically just a wide receiver in an air raid offense for Todd Monken. That's what I'm hoping for Mark Andrews. But JL is right. Unless he comes out and says this is what we're doing, we don't know. So there is a little bit of risk in that, and it could end up going the other way. So there is definitely some risk there. My personal leaning is that that's what they would do.
Makes sense. Well, Mark Andrews off the board, 2 tight ends gone, 1 running back, 4 wide receivers. Coop, you're on the clock with pick 8. Where are you going?
Pick 8. So this is a different team than my last team. My last team, I took A.J. Brown. With this team, my game plan is to go in a little more, play to win now. So on this team, I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor. I think that he's not only one of the best running backs in the league, but he's also plays with one of the best offensive linemen in the league. Quentin Nelson, happy birthday, Quentin Nelson, just turned 27, I think yesterday or the day before. So he's still one of the youngest, most valuable players in this league as arguably the best offensive guard in the league. As long as those two are playing together, Jonathan Taylor is going to be interesting to me. So with this team, I'm going running back. And since I'm going with a running back that's, he's not old, but, he's been in the league for a couple of years. This team, I'll probably skew towards trying to win the league within the first year or so.
Makes sense. Jonathan Taylor off the board, the second running back after Breece Hall, which was jailed back on the clock at pick 9. John Luke, where are you rolling here? You look like maybe you were planning on some JT here.
I wasn't planning on JT. I probably would have taken JT if he fell anymore. That's a good pick. But that's not why I was making that face. I was making that face because I don't know where to go here. Typically, I don't like to, if there's a decision between a running back and another position, I tend not to like to go with the running back because running backs are just not, their lifetime is not as strong, right? They don't play as long in their careers. And so their lifetime value is going to be a little bit less than, say, a young wide receiver available at the same place. And so I'm going to take my own advice here. I'm going to go Jalen Waddle.
Waddle.
Yeah, I love the Waddle pick. Last year, I was off Waddle a little bit. I was worried that he was going to end up being like a low ADOT guy because he was. He had like a 7-yard ADOT before. With this new coordinator, with Mike McDaniel offense, his ADOT went from 7 to 12. Like he in this offense was transformed into a full route tree wide receiver. So it's wheels up for Jalen Waddle now. I'm fully in.
I'm a big fan of Waddle. He is not really even playing second fiddle to Tyreek Hill. I said that I made that comment earlier that he was the wide receiver 2 on his team. It's wide receiver 1A, 1B, and there's not a truer situation of that in the NFL than with those two guys.
Yep. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase.
I think Jamar Chase is more of a 1 in that offense than Tyreek Hill is a 1 in the Dolphins offense.
That's fair.
About Mike Evans, Chris Godwin.
Well, they're both wide receivers too now.
Or worse.
No. I don't think it's going to be that bad for Godwin. I really don't.
You think he's going to be fine?
With Baker? I mean, you look at what Jarvis Landry did, and I think we'll see this kind of the same thing from with that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. I would not mind if you got the Jarvis Landry treatment. That would be all right there. Well, Joey, you're on the clock now. Jalen Waddle off the board. Where are you going with pick 10?
So I'm glad I didn't get cute. I mentioned earlier that Justin Jefferson was top 5 in red zone targets. There was actually 3 Minnesota Vikings that were top 15 in red zone targets last year, and one of them is now gone. From week 9 to 18, this was the tight end number 2. I'm taking TJ Hawkinson. I am so in on him this year. He is my tight end 2 in redraft. I'm still taking Kelsey before him. I love Hawkinson. Everything is lining up for Minnesota. They love him. Cousins likes him. I'm happy with this pick. Like, when Pitts went and then Andrews went, I thought, I'm excited.
Yeah.
That is a pick, and I don't hate it.
Right. And I don't even think there's even any wide receiver because, like, with Thielen gone, now he has a pretty easy path to being a top 2 target. And I don't even think that there's any wide receiver in this draft that could totally derail that. Like, there's no Julio Jones or AJ Green in this draft. If they draft Jackson Smith and Jigba, okay, now it's a little more dicey, but even then, like, it's not like he's this insane can't miss prospect either. So yeah, I think he's looking pretty good right now. I would take Hawkinson versus any rookie, in terms of targets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, how early would you be taking Hawkinson in this format?
In this format, I had him
third. This is about where it starts.
Yeah, I have him third after Pitts, Andrews, Hawk.
I'm looking at the
I have
wide
that in that order,
receivers that are I'm just looking at the wide receivers that are next in my list, and this is a round where I'm comfortable grabbing Hawkinson, right? If there is a wide receiver in the same tier that I'm looking at, then I'm not moving that way. But the next ones are young players, unproven players, players in changing situations, aging players. I'll take Hawkinson here over Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Hawkinson's 25 too. I mean, he's still young, so.
Yeah, I love the Hawkinson pick. I think he is. I don't think at this point I could take him over Andrews just for market value purposes, but I would be surprised if Hawkinson is going ahead of Andrews next year.
Yeah, you don't have to. That's what's nice about it. Like if you love him and you can wait on him, you can. It's kind of what we were talking about with the wide receivers. Like if you like Tyreek Hill, or if you like Jalen Waddle more than Tyreek Hill, you get to wait to take Waddle later, and you feel better about it.
Wait to take a Waddle.
What would
you don't want that?
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill. Bingo.
Tyreek Hill.
Oh, let's look at this draft board.
Well, I'm up next, and I'm going to do it because this is and just like Coop, you said you're kind of building a win now team. I'm doing the same thing here with this pick, but it's not at the running back position. I'm going with a player that's can be a game breaker in this format, and I'm going to take Travis Kelce. Even though he is in his 30s, I know he's aging, but he's still playing at an elite level at this position. And with Patrick Mahomes throwing him the ball there in Kansas City, he can truly be a championship winning player any year that he's on your roster in tight end premium.
Do you feel like this is a move that you could have made, Simon, if you're going to win now? If you're starting a dynasty, like you're happy with the 11 pick, win now?
Yeah,
Travis
Kelce. If you're in a tight end premium league like this, 11th, 12th pick, if you want to start Travis, especially tight end premium super flex, if you can swing the Mahomes Kelce stack, figure that out, make some trades. You're going all in on that, but you're looking pretty fly going forward.
Dustin in the chat commented on the previous picks. He said Huntley's a free agent, talking about the Mark Andrews talk. And he also said Lamar could sit and we could get Carson Wentz in Baltimore. That would be bad. That would be the worst. Dustin, don't you dare say that.
Probably not
Please.
great for Mark Andrews then.
Probably not. Yeah.
No, so
Carson Wentz was filming a commercial this last weekend. He was
Where?
throwing a football over a house. There was somebody filming it from the driveway. I guess it was outside their house. I don't know what the commercial was for.
Probably
So-
for football airspace.
I thought they well, the thing is they placed a tender. No, so yeah, they placed a tender on Tyler Huntley, didn't they? Like, I'm pretty sure
Chicken
Tyler.
tender?
Yeah, it's going to cost you at least one chicken tender to sign Tyler Huntley away. So I think he's pretty likely
That's
to be back.
a high cost.
Yeah,
They'd have to throw a dipping sauce for me to be able to make that move.
Any dipping sauce?
Any dipping sauce.
Premier. They'd have to go get a Szechuan sauce from McDonald's. They'd have to go dig it out of the back.
Oh,
Nothing else.
Well, Coop, you're on the clock here. On the turn, pick 12 and then pick 1 of round 2 on the same team. Travis Kelce's off the board. Where are you rolling?
let's see. My heart wants to take Patrick Mahomes, so you can't. But instead of doing that, I'm just going to build this team the way I would build it if I was planning to play for the long haul. And I'm just going to take Garrett Wilson, the nice rookie pick of the year from last year. And then I'm going to take DK Metcalf, a guy that at 25 years old, like he's had 14, listen to this stat, 3 straight years in a row, he's had more than 14 end zone targets. And this past year, he just led the league in end zone targets with like 20. This is a big dog capable of scoring at any given moment. And they consistently are looking for ways to get him the ball in the red area, on top of just being, consistently targeted. The only things that if this guy ever figures out how to like break some tackles, or they figure out a better way to get him the ball in space, the only things holding him back right now are basically his catch rate and his yak. If they can get him some shorter routes and he can just, have a better catch rate and maybe break some bigger plays, this guy is all of a sudden going to start rattling off seasons like the big dogs. And like I said, he's 25 years old. Age apex is 26, 27, 28, 29. He's just now getting into the level where we see the best seasons from these guys, right? Like
this is usually how I like to start building out my dynasty teams. The double young wide receiver, it just creates such a nice core. You can go so many different directions after that for the rest of your draft. You're going to build around these guys for the future.
Right. I thought about going double super young, but I went with a guy that's a little safer, a little more proven in DK Metcalf.
There we go. Well, with my next pick, second pick, I alluded to it. I'm going to do it. Even though this is one quarterback, I'm going to take the Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce stack and go quarterback a little bit early here in the second round. You can say that if you want, but if you're telling me I'm wrong for having Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce in a tight end premium dynasty, I don't believe it. It may not be the most value-driven pick, but there's nothing wrong here when the goal is to score the most points. I'm going to score a lot of points with these two guys, but I really need to capitalize on the last couple of years of Travis Kelce's career.
Totally.
Well, Joey, you're back on the clock now. You took Hawk with this team in the first round. Where are you going with round 2?
Yeah, so a little bit of draft strategy. Whenever I take a tight end early, I'll usually wait on quarterback and wide receiver. The deepest position I want to be able to save towards the end to be able to load up in the beginning with a better position. So I'm going to take Bijan Robinson. I don't even know where he's going, but once in a generation talent, I'm going to get him on my team while I can.
Bijan Robinson.
Bijan.
Incoming rookie, not even on a team yet, as the third running back taken, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, after Breece Hall and Jonathan Taylor. This puts JL back on the clock. You took Jalen Waddle with this team in the first round. Where are you going in the second round?
I have to go with this guy. I'm going to go with Christian McCaffrey.
CMC.
He's old, but he's good.
He's so good.
And not that old, but kind of old for running back old.
And your pick dictated my pick, JL. Because I sat here and I said, I took Jonathan Taylor with this team in the first round.
Take the other guy I was going to take.
I'm going to take the other guy. I'm going to take Dr. Microanalysis' favorite, Saquon Barkley. Come on down. So you took CMC. This is my win now team. I'm going to try and win the league right now, which that's my favorite move, is just to like go into one of these and say, oh, cool plans, everybody. I'm just going to take the best players right now. I'm just going to draft like it's a redraft league and just take the best redraft players, and then I'll win this league, and I'll put my name on the trophy, and I'll put all your money in my pocket, and then I'll figure out the rest later. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason that I can't keep winning if I just make good rookie picks. So give me Saquon Barkley. And right when I make this Saquon Barkley pick, I go to you guys and I say, hey, if you want my rookie picks, trade me your next pick in this draft. You can have all my picks moving forward, because I'll just keep drafting players and keep winning.
Nice.
I'll take Derrick Henry in the next round. I'll just keep on drafting all these players.
Exactly. So the moment I make this pick, all my rookie picks go on the trade block. You can have them.
Well, this puts me back on the clock. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Joey.
I'll say the way that people leave dynasty leagues, trying to win now is not a bad idea at all.
No.
People will leave with like their wide receiver one will be an 11-year-old middle school rec league player. And they're just like, nah, just wait till my team comes together.
Marvin Harrison the third.
Yeah. They're just not even born yet. They're just going a couple generations down. My next pick here, I drafted Mark Andrews with this team in the first round. I'm going wide receiver around the same age as Mark Andrews. I'm going to take Stephon Diggs with my next pick.
Yeah.
He's in that tier of not quite older wide receivers, but top tier aging wide receivers, I would say. So his value starting to get suppressed. We're seeing the likes of Jalen Waddle, Garrett Wilson go past him, but he's still up in that top tier for me. And Joey, that puts you back on the clock with your Breece Hall team. Where are you going with your second pick?
So the guy that I was debating at the last pick, I'm going to take here Amon-Ra St. Brown. I was doing kind of a little profile on Jameson Williams last night, and I was just looking at Amon-Ra St. Brown's numbers, and I was just blown away. When he was on the field, standout wide receiver. Love him here to pair with Breece Hall. Did I take Breece Hall in this round?
You did.
Yeah. Love pairing him with Breece Hall. Two great young players in the Dynasty League. Can't complain about that.
I just worry with Amon-Ra St. Brown that when this rebuild is done and they have the split ends and they have Jameson Williams at flanker, and they eventually are going to have a tight end. They don't even have a tight end in the roster.
No, not right now.
I'm not like, I just don't know if he's going to be a guy that gets 140, 130 targets. But I mean, at this moment, they don't have any of that. So he's going to be probably wide receiver one again.
Yeah, we were talking about like Chris Godwin and Mike Evans and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. And I think this is just kind of a lower version of that. Like Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown could be one of those tight wide receiver tandems that we're talking about 2-3 years from now.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much more Amon-Ra St. Brown needs to do to win our trust. You know, he's done it for 2 seasons now. There's only 2 seasons in the league. I think he's given us ample evidence that he's good. I'm excited to see what he does in this Detroit offense.
The thing, the comparison that I worry about is Tyler Boyd, who he was a guy that when the Bengals were kind of struggling, was a guy that was on the field every single play and racking up points. And then when they got a split end and they got a flanker, then he became more of a just a slot guy. But again, Tyler Boyd is still a good player. Like if I could go back and get Tyler Boyd in my dynasty league, I would do it. So like it's not a bad pick. I just worry about, some of these guys. There's a lot of these guys that who knows what's going to happen next. So
exactly.
There's a floor result available.
There's
but
definitely
even the floor result is still a pretty good one. Well, Dale, you're back on the clock. Kyle Pitts with your first pick on this team. You took the first tight end off the board. 3 more have gone since then. Where are you going with this next pick?
This next pick, I'm going to go Kenneth Walker.
Ooh, nice.
Go running back again, Kenneth Walker. I was assigned between him and CMC in the last pick, and I'm glad he fell back to me.
Nice.
So the thing with the thing with Kenneth Walker, I have him high in my own rankings, and I just for some reason was skipping over him. I don't know what I have to go back and reevaluate him. Because I mean he did look awesome. It's just, and I even rank him high. I just for some reason it doesn't excite me. I don't know.
Well, who does excite you, Coop? Because you're back on the clock here.
Nice segue, Simon.
Who does excite me? I'm going to go with the guy that I had as my number 1 rookie wide receiver last year, and I still have towards the very top, and that's Drake London. Like Drake London, his target share on that team, he had the 5th highest target share of any wide receiver in the league. They didn't throw a ton, but he got a huge percentage of those targets. And what we've seen a lot of times is those guys, when the team does start throwing more, it's not like they get a smaller slice of that pie. They just get more passes. Drake London, I think, is a mega star, and they've committed to him as being one of the top 2 guys on that team for a long time. So give me Drake London.
Drake London, that was going to be my next pick, Coop, but I'm gonna switch here and take another guy that I love to pair with CeeDee Lamb on this team, a young running back. I'm going to go with Travis Etienne to pair with CeeDee Lamb on this team. And with this build, young running back, young wide receiver, it's kind of open, right? This can easily be a win now team, but I'm also available to draft some of these younger players, these developmental players, because the pieces I'm building around are win now and very young. So I like starting a draft like this. It gives you a lot of flexibility.
This is a Travis Etienne household, isn't it?
Travis Etienne household. And Joey looks a little upset, like maybe he was going to pair Justin Jefferson with Travis Etienne. But you're back on the clock.
No, so I almost got every pick that I wanted in this draft. Like nobody got sniped, and it finally happened with Etienne. That was a great pick. So who did I take in the first round? It was Justin Jefferson. So I feel pretty. Oh man, you really have me tilting here. I'll take Austin Eckler. I believe he was the running back one last year, and he doesn't look like he is going to leave LA. You keep hearing rumors he is. Coop, what's the last you heard on that? Is he gone or is he there?
He's just posturing. I think he's just posturing, and I think he might be a little worried they're going to draft another early down back on that team, and I think he's just posturing to be like, I'm the guy, and I just want you to pay me and prove that I'm the guy.
Austin Eckler does what Devin Singletary does in Buffalo. He just fights off any running backs they bring in, just at a much more elite level of doing it.
Chris Carson, just undrafted free agent that just won't die.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that, so when I see you making this pick, this is the exact opposite thing that I want to see for my Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley team. I want to be the bully in this league. I don't want a Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes team. I don't want a Justin Jefferson, Austin Eckler team. These are other teams that could win right now. So again, you got to look around and see what's going on out there. If everybody else is going all in on winning now, then I'd be willing to go the other way. So you kind of play it the way it's going, but that's not what I wanted you to do.
Well, I'm sorry that I did that.
I know.
I'm glad for myself.
It's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I'm glad we're playing this 2-round league out.
Trust me. Hey, that's how. If the other people in your league are pissed, then you did something right.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than a loud GD right as you pick a player. You did well when that happens in the draft.
True.
Draft live with your friends, people. It's a lot.
Scott Fish said, don't get me started, Joey. I don't know what he's talking about.
We got NKC in here as well. What's up, NKC? Welcome in, my friend. Glad to have you here. And John Luke, you've got the last pick of this mock draft. Who are you pairing with Jamar Chase?
I'm going with Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stack this number one team: Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson. Ooh, that is my favorite way to start a dynasty draft. I want to play this team out now.
I thought Garrett Wilson was drafted.
The problem with drafting Garrett Wilson is I already picked him.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I took him with DK Metcalf at the swing.
Then I can't take him.
I'll tell you what,
JL. I'll tell you what, that would have been an amazing pick.
Yeah,
I would have. I was surprised he was still there. All right, then I will go with T. Higgins to pair with Jamar Chase.
Just go Chris Olave. It's kind of the same thing.
No,
I like the T. Higgins paired with Jamar Chase. You get the Bengals pairing.
Wow.
You really should
Maybe
take
I'll
Joe
go
Burrow
Olave on the turn.
One more round.
On the turn, you go Joe Burrow and just be the Bengals.
I would never.
Well, guys, coming up, we are going to answer some of Reddit's toughest questions as we ponder over the results of this draft. Think about the decisions we've made. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Talk about your picks and your fantasy teams on Better Sports Network.
The importance of checking out the site that you're playing on. Default rankings of these sites. A lot of times they don't get updated. I know from experience. I used to write default rankings for the BKC, the basketball version of the NFBC. I'd write these default rankings in June for the NBA, before the NBA draft, before free agency opened up. And guess what? I was never asked to write an update article or update the default rankings. This happens a lot. Maybe if there's something obvious, it gets updated. Aaron Judge, for some reason, hurts his back. Maybe they make that change. Just maybe. But you don't know that. And that's why it's just so important that you show up to your draft room or you do that pre-draft prep. We're all busy. We know we're about to devote a lot of time to our fantasy baseball drafts. Why not spend the extra 20 to 25 invest properly in your team, to go and see which of those players are way down default rankings. They're going to be different on all of these sites, and you're going to be looking at them and going, maybe their analysts think a certain player who shouldn't be in the top 100, who should be maybe even not even the top 200, will be in that top 100. You got to check that out. You got to know where you're playing, just like you got to know your format when you sign up for the league. It's just so crucial, and people just skip right over it. You think it's cool to show up to the draft room 3 minutes before the draft. Well, number one, it's not cool because the commissioner's trying to make sure it is organized, especially me, who runs auctions. You can't, it's one thing if someone doesn't show up for the snake draft, oh well, doesn't ruin it for everyone. Auctions, you can't have someone not show up. Auto bidding, auto auctioning, it ruins the sanctity of those drafts here, which is why I always recommend, hey, make it easy on your commissioner. Don't make them send those texts there. It's annoying. You shouldn't have to do that. Don't wait till the last minute and get in there about 20, 25 minutes before so you can just look up and down the entire default rankings list so you can make a queue out of that, Ron. And the reason I keep saying this is because people still show up 2-3 minutes before the draft, and that's it. In fact, in one of my auctions, people were asking me where certain players were, and I go, did you search their name? No, I just got in. Well, that's no excuse right there. That's your own fault. I mean, you're organized, so you're a hard person to ask here.
You're getting those questions. This is your preschool league, right? People don't know how to search player names.
People freak out. They don't think. That's the problem. Because they show up 2 minutes before the draft. That's why.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I see we got Scott Fish in the chat saying, you guys should bring me on for the post show to chat with you for. Call on in. Hit that call button and come on up, Scott. If you want to come on and hang out, we'd love to have you. Because right now we are about to answer some questions from Reddit. Some tough life questions, but we're here to help. John Luke, I know, has scoured the interwebs to find the best Reddit has to offer, the questions where we could be of the most assistance.
That is true. I have done that, and Reddit has answered. You guys ready for their questions?
Let's hear them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's Reddit's first question. What's a website that is no longer around that you miss? Toontown.
Toontown.
That's the answer.
Oh,
that's the answer
Missed
forever.
the hell out of Toontown.
Toontown.
Toontown was like my first online game, really, and it just rocked my whole world.
That it was like the Disney MMORPG, right? Like everyone else was running around. It was like RuneScape, but you were goofy.
My sister and I got into RuneScape, and then my dad found out that we were playing games with people online, and he made us stop. And then we discovered Toontown like a year later, and he didn't learn about that. That one was enough to trick him. He didn't find it.
What the heck is Toontown?
You never played
You never
Toontown?
saw commercials?
No.
Toontown? You play like different Disney characters, and you're like, it was like kind of like the first, like Simon said, like MMO RPG of its kind. Maybe not. There were probably some before that, but at least that was like mainstream for a kid.
That's wild, dude.
Joey, did you play any Toontown?
I did not play any Toontown. I'm with Coop. I have never heard of this before.
Man, I'm with Joe. Maybe they weren't cool enough for Toontown. Maybe they were busy playing basketball or something.
Yeah, that's the cool. Maybe had a very short window, and maybe we were just in that window.
Yeah, I think you're right. It probably did.
Both Coop and Joey are older.
Is like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
might have been
possible.
Might have been too old, but that sounds like right up my alley, though.
Super fun.
Yeah. So for me, for this one, like I'm a big fan. I Twitter helps. Reddit is where I live now for things that like appeal to my ADD. TikTok for a lot of people nowadays. It used to be Dig, but before that there was a website called StumbleUpon.
I remember StumbleUpon. That was like straight up high school. I missed that site too.
And it was like you just click and these like different things would come up, and sometimes you get something again, And it was like that was kind of one of the ones that was kind of part of it that was so fun for me is that like you'd see all these new sites, just like random fun sites, but every once in a while something would come back up and I'd be like, oh, I know this. Like there was this one with like these singing horses that would come up and I'd just be like, oh, nice. StumbleUpon would just, it took all the effort out of browsing the internet. Random, you know? I do miss StumbleUpon. Reddit is kind of like that, but it's not random enough. It's not random enough. Yeah, it's too formulaic. StumbleUpon was just, it was chaos.
You could get anything.
It's
I used to spend hours and hours just clicking stumble, whatever the button said. I don't remember, but I'm with you, Coop.
Now it's like a weird.
Is it gone?
I've looked it up. It's like a different company now.
Oh, that's
someone bought it, and I don't know if they kept it or like made it into their own thing, but it's not the same.
That's
you can tell me if mine counts or not, because I guess it's still around, but not in the way that it was whenever it first started.
4chan.
The original iterations.
That'll never
Hulu.
fall.
Whenever Hulu first came out, and you would just go to Hulu.com, and there were all these boxes of tons of free movies. You didn't even have to sign up. It was just Hulu.com, all these free movies. I didn't sleep for 3 days whenever I found that in high school. I was just like, you mean I can just watch movies all night on my laptop? Like I had recently gotten my own computer. I found a website with unlimited free movies, at least in the sense that I could watch reasonably in between school and wrestling practice the next day. And I just didn't sleep. It doesn't have that same sense of novelty anymore because now we've got unlimited everything on demand. But like at that time, whenever it first showed up, this website with all these movies, it was shocking. You won't get that feeling anymore from a website like that.
It's so funny that certain things, like when they do get invented, you're like, I can't believe this, dude. I had that feeling with Shazam. When someone first showed me Shazam, I was like, dude, where's this been my whole life?
Oh, man.
Right? Where's this been my entire... I was like sitting in my mom's car, just remembering a handful of lyrics over and over in my head so I could go home and Google it and figure out what that song I heard was. And now it's just like, boom, Shazam, captured. I've captured this song.
Done.
That's cool.
Joey, do you have any defunct websites?
The website that I missed the most in my heart was this film website called Flick 250. It did movie reviews in 250 words or less, and it was right around the beginnings of Twitter. So it was like really great. It was wonderful, and then it just shut down unexpectedly. And I know this because it was my film website. And this is why you should never go into business with people that can be deported.
There we go.
Yeah.
And the website just randomly shut down. Joey said
he was the
website.
The design behind it and had control over the website, had all the passwords, and I just put my reviews in. He never wrote a single review, and then he got deported back to England. I have still never heard from the guy.
No,
it was awful.
That sucks, man.
I'm sorry for laughing, just not what I expected that question.
It's funny now, but like it's for years. I said I would never talk or write about film again because I was so burned.
Why don't you just
like
tweet
3 years down the drain?
Why don't you just tweet 250 character tweets?
No, it was 250 words. You can't 250 characters. You can't get a movie review.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
probably could.
I thought it was good. The movie review we talked about for Baby Geniuses 2, just ghastly. That's the whole review.
That's a pretty good review though.
Yeah. You should do 1-word movie reviews.
Turd.
Yeah.
Turd.
And then we try to guess the movie. Really,
or like 5 words, or like something small enough that he can fit some in there, but not enough.
5 words could do it.
That's a fun game. Let's develop that.
I liked to watch puppies. What's the movie?
Airbud Pup Star.
Nope. What do you guys think?
Airbud Pup Star 2.
Yeah, it was Airbud Pup Star 2.
Yes.
I like to watch puppies. Marley and me. I don't know.
Well, Jail, we've given
101 Dalmatians.
The old Hulu Film 250 or Film in 250. Did I
Flick
get the name
250.
of it? Flick 250.
Yeah.
I'll eventually get it right. Toontown and StumbleUpon.
We did do that.
Those are our 4 answers.
That's
Is Reddit pleased?
Reddit seems pleased. Yes, Reddit does seem pleased. I forgot this was a Reddit question. Whoa. Our next Reddit question: what kids show would you watch back now and think, man, that producer must have been high as hell making that?
Yo, every single one of them. I guess I'm going to
Adventure
formulate a
Time.
better answer, but
Adventure Time for sure. Courage the Cowardly Dog.
1000% Ren and Stimpy.
Oh, that's my 100%. That was my
Ren
answer.
and Stimpy is definitely my answer for that. Like some of that stuff, like it's kind of like traumatic.
I believe my mom walked by the TV when I was watching it, and she goes, "I think those people are on drugs."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
so
exactly, dude.
Yeah.
You think right, Ma?
Mm-hmm.
Angry Beavers.
I think anything old school Nickelodeon or old school Cartoon Network. Joe, you brought up Courage the Cowardly Dog, and that one screams for sure. Like whoever got that show greenlit was high. Whoever greenlit it themselves was high, and then every writer on it was also high. They were like,
call it lit.
okay, so there's this cute little dog, and he lives in the middle of nowhere, and it's genuine horror for children. None of this tuned down like Scooby-Doo nonsense. Like we are going full-on gruesome, grotesque horror. The dog doesn't talk. Everything's scary. Imagine the old Hot Rod drawings. That's exactly what it's going to look like. Are you in? And they're like,
yeah,
let's do it.
Sometimes a lot of those episodes don't even have happy endings. Like a lot of those episodes have like horrifying endings. And also kind of amazing how little dialogue that show had. The main character doesn't talk. The main character,
and when he does, great. He doesn't add a.
Doesn't really.
It's really
add much.
mostly the physical story, which is interesting. You don't have many shows like that nowadays.
No.
You know, where it's like dialogue is not the main focus. So it's kind of interesting. Like, man, people who made that show are kind of trailblazers,
kind of legends, dude.
Kind of impressed.
Legends.
How the heck did they get that on the network?
Did you say animated only?
No.
Or is it just kid shows?
Kid show.
Kid shows.
You guys were talking about Paul Rubens earlier. Simon knows him, Pee Wee Herman. Like that Pee Wee's Playhouse, the original Pee Wee's Playhouse was wild.
Yo, absolutely nuts. A talking toilet. Yeah. And they were just like, that was just normal. That wasn't even the weirdest part of that show. We're just going to
scream when people would say words.
Just scream at the top of their lungs. Or Joe, you like made me think if we're going outside of animated, Yo Gabba Gabba. Have you guys ever watched Yo Gabba Gabba? Yeah. That show,
I think I have,
without a doubt,
wild,
involved drugs in the creation of it. Just this giant godlike being maneuvering these monster puppets around, and then like Katy Perry shows up, right? Like they have like real musical guests. They'll have, they have like legit bands that'll show up as musical guests in the middle of Yo Gabba Gabba.
I think that's how I found out about OK Go was on Yo Gabba Gabba.
I feel like in order to write a children's show, you either have to have never done drugs in your life or currently be doing drugs. There is no in between. Like those are the two kinds of people that can write children's animation correctly.
Well, I guess I better start doing some drugs.
The purest of heart. And Better Boss said Muno, the red sex toy. Yes, that is one of the characters on Yo Gabba Gabba.
The red sex toy.
Oh boy.
Look up Muno. That's pretty funny.
I don't want to.
Oh my god, dude. What is that thing?
Is it ribbed? Like, is that why you said it?
It's the main character. It's one of the main characters.
I must look up the entire message.
I think what I've learned.
I'm getting an anime character.
What I've learned in just this moment is that I've never seen Yo Gabba Gabba.
I'm getting Muna Hashinova.
Muno with an O at the end.
Oh,
there you got it.
Muna is an anime character.
There you go.
Well, Reddit, I hope we were helpful in your questions today. Some children's shows to go back and reminisce on and some defunct websites. But that is going to be it for us today. We're going to be back tomorrow and the next day and the day after that with some more Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show fun. Until then, though, we are out of here. Stick around here on BSN. We got Moose and Keith coming up next. And we're going to get prepped for the rest of the NCAA tournament. Until tomorrow, though, we're out of here, everybody. Adios, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.